welcome to the Dojotalkpodcast. Please remove them shoes before entry.
Sam Master is here, and you still have not taken off your shoes.
Yeah. Living every day to define man's mission. Looking to the sky for divine transmission. Deaf man's vision makes the blind man listen. Eyes on the prize, this is blind ambition. Thank you.
Welcome to another edition of the Dojo Talk Podcast. It is episode number 86. We're here on Mother's Day, and I'm gathered with some very special people. As always, joined by my co-host, the Anti-Cool, and returning roommate slash host slash guest slash every other thing under the sun, Joey from the Sports Soundoff. How's everybody doing?
The way you introduced that, we've been talking. We've been talking for like 45 minutes. I'm like, is he about to introduce his mom? Wait, has she been sitting here for this whole conversation?
I'm trying to act like we just haven't been.
We just showed up. We appeared.
Right. Yeah, we've been out of control for like the past 40 minutes. And you guys are. I tried to calmly lead us in, but I don't think this is going to be one of those episodes.
Just for the record, I want it to be pointed out that we were specifically told to regain our composure. And we got a 5-second countdown, and you both have already started laughing.
I'm never on target. So.
I see. Happy Mother's Day, by the way, to all.
Happy Mother's Day to everybody.
Happy Mother's Day, and Happy Mother's Day to you single dads out there who want to claim both holidays.
Hey.
And don't play this podcast around your mom. It's probably not gonna.
No, it's good. It's good activity. It's good. You can bond. You can bond with your mother.
You can bond over the shame she has for you. For this.
I mean, if you like MMA, she probably did drugs while you were in her womb, so it's her fault.
Yeah, that's fair.
There we go.
Yeah, that
blame has to go to somebody.
Go ahead, either that or what?
No, I was gonna say she just likes to fight.
Maybe you've got a fighting mom.
Yeah.
Kudos to you if you have a fighting mom.
My mom got my mom got kicked out of high school for punching the 80-year-old vice principal.
This is great.
So
what a day.
This is how you start an episode.
We got. You guys didn't even hear the best stuff.
Yeah, the podcast peaked like 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, you got to pay $4.99 to hear the special edition,
right.
Which has all of the great content.
Oh man!
Real
quick before we get started though, let me get my disclaimer out because I'm pretty sure you guys can hear this beep in the background. I have a fire alarm situation in my house right now. All of my fire alarms are broken, and they are making this really loud beeping noise. It's in the process of being fixed, but it's not done yet. And I can't do anything to make this noise go away, so I have to deal with it. So y'all have to deal with it. We appreciate you.
So, quick, I was actually going to bring this up before, but you went to go reshuffle. Are they broken, or do they just need a battery change?
Well, because we got new batteries.
Okay.
And we put the new batteries in, and it's still kind of, they're still doing that noise.
All right, so there might be a fire at Serial Sensei's house. So if he cuts out.
I died on the Mother's Day podcast.
God damn it. God, Jesus Christ.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
Let me get
this is the Hindenburg. It's just going to be a picture for the rest of time.
Don't say that. His house might be on fire.
Well, I'm worried about him.
I cooked this morning and I didn't die, so I think I'm all right.
Are you a bad cook?
I'm decent.
Well, I mean, the way you said that was like, I cooked this morning, I didn't die.
I'm like a 6.5 out of 10.
I think he just means it's not guessing.
I see. Oh, my God.
Let me get these shout-outs off before we just dive into the abyss in this episode.
Too damn late.
So the top 5 cities who have listened: New York, Mountain View, California, San Francisco, California, Hyattsville, Maryland, and I'm gonna butcher this whole thing. Kolkata, India. So shout outs to Kolkata, India.
Egypt
Pretty
is
sure.
slacking.
Yeah, Egypt, man. I don't know where we must have offended somebody in
Slacking.
Egypt.
This is
I
I kept calling them the feeder league to ONE FC, and they went away.
Ukraine is out there though. There's a small Ukraine.
Well, they're gonna really love today's episode.
So yeah, man. This episode, I'm not even sure where to start.
Get out of here.
Yeah, this episode's gonna be really disorganized, guys. I'm sorry, but it's just gonna be one of those episodes.
Real
So
quick.
what do we want to start and
just
make fun
to-
of first?
Sorry, just to disclaim, on my end, there are dogs here. They are loud. They may bark. That's all I got.
No.
I mean,
Rowdiness all over.
yeah. Nala's barked
So
on
who-
the podcast before, so you're good.
Who?
My dog.
Who named it?
Me.
You named it after the Lion King character?
Yes. Her name. Well, I can't give you her full name because I want my government all up there in the street. I don't need all these dudes in Calcutta, India, trying to hit me up on Facebook.
I was gonna make a comment. I'm so glad I didn't. Thank you. I'm so glad I didn't. Oi.
So who are we gonna make fun of first? There's a lot going on.
Oh my God, this is what even is this?
I said, since we know who they are, let's make fun of ESPN first.
All right, here we go. Let's
'Cause I have no fucking clue who the Zone is. Besides some billionaire's pet project.
This is like an offshoot of that. This isn't too far off.
Yeah.
So I think we mentioned it like briefly our last episode, but like it wasn't an official thing, so we didn't have any concrete details. I feel like we still don't have concrete details, but it's a thing that's apparently going to happen. So ESPN Plus strikes a $750 million deal with the UFC. We will be getting, well, I say we as y'all. I'm not paying for this nonsense, but
Oh boy.
you guys,
Sorry,
you guys
MMA
will
fans.
be getting. Yeah. I'm not with this at all. You guys will be getting 15 fights. What is it? 15 fights a year. Including the Fight Contender Series will also be on there.
Mm-hmm.
They will not have the entire UFC library, which is trash, but we'll get into that.
So, just for the record, this is 15 cards on top of the 20 cards they want to put on TV.
Yes.
The 5 or 6 are still going to put on Fight Pass, and presumably the 11 to 13 pay-per-views they do a year.
I think I heard 6 to 8, but still.
And these will be 12 fight cards. Also.
Yes.
So programming will include, as we stated, Dana White's Contender Series, these UFC cards, and then all of the other like random sports that are on ESPN Plus. And then in terms of boxing, I was really looking forward to Terrence Crawford's next fight. He's fighting Jeff Horn. That will be on ESPN Plus on, was it June? It's June something. It's like early June. So if you want to watch Terrence Crawford, you got to pay $4.99 a month. So yeah, we like you said, we had like an hour-long convo before we even started recording. I don't know who won in this deal, but I know we lost.
The UFC won.
I mean, ESPN gets something out of it too, but yeah, this is a one-sided kind of deal.
When I heard this deal, I'm not putting out my place of employment over this recording because I don't want to get fired. But this sounds like something our managers would do, and it's just terrible. Like it sounds like one of those ideas that was okay on paper, and like everybody just got excited, but nobody really thought it through. And it was too late once they signed the contract, and now we're just stuck with this. Like,
Ooh, Anna, you want to go first? Or do you want me to try to throw something out here on it?
I'll say something. I don't think ESPN understands how sports that aren't basketball, baseball, and football work. I don't think they understand like the fan base. I don't think they understand. I don't know, like viewership, because for them to make their money back, I think we worked it out. Like they needed to the UFC needs to add like 3 million customers.
Something like that, yeah. It's got to be like Fox level,
It has to be
above
high,
Fox level.
yeah, because the UFC can't get 3 million people to tune in on fucking Fox. So, I get like they don't seem to understand. Fight fans are kind of tired of the fact that there are 40 UFC cards a year. Adding 15 more just basically guarantees there's going to be one every week. It never ends. So,
Yeah, I think that if I had to be fair to ESPN, if you're not first, you're last, so to speak. And if you want to get in on digital streaming, if you want to have a digital platform, you can pay $500 million for a set of Fox games for NFL, or I guess you could pay relatively cheap-ish, programming-ish for the UFC. You get 15 events, you get the Contender Series. I guess that's appealing to them. Like I said before, as if you guys were hearing the fucking earlier conversation, I don't know what overpaying is in digital rights, because this is all like kind of new. So I don't know if they're. I believe both of these deals, the Matchroom deal and this one, are serious overpays. But 5 years from now, who knows what it'll look like? Like, because somebody's gonna break more than $1 billion at some point. So I guess their thing is it's cheap programming. If an NFL game on a digital platform does 300,000 people and the UFC Fight Pass has 400,000, they could sell it to themselves like that. I wouldn't have done this deal, but at the same time, I want MMA and combat sports to be good, so I'm happy that ESPN is with Top Rank and the UFC for this thing, but it is a pain in the ass, I think, for consumers.
Yeah, I wanted to be fair about this. I was trying to grasp straws on what like the positives were. All right, ESPN is in terms of sports, like the biggest network. So I mean, if anything, you make it to ESPN Plus, you're on a bigger platform. I'm trying to be, for the people that are willing to pay $4.99. Maybe you get exposed to a few new people who otherwise who don't have Fight Pass or aren't really tuning into Fox. You're on ESPN, you're on the biggest platform. Maybe more eyes are on you. But from what I've read so far, I don't think the fighters are getting any kind of increase in pay or are they getting any of that $750? I don't think they're getting any of that.
Probably not. Probably not. I would assume no.
Yeah, so it's like
just for the record, just to put that into perspective. So I can't remember I can't remember her name, the Twitter follower, but I know you saw it, Joey.
Yeah.
Financially broken down, not including the shoulder programming that is they're definitely going to do, and not including the Contender Series stuff. ESPN is paying something like what, $400,000 a fight.
It's just, I mean, it's an insane number. But then again, I don't know, maybe they just, because who knows what we don't know what they're paying Top Rank.
Right.
But I'm sure it's not cheap either. Cheap relative to what we consider a lot of money. So they may just be they're just trying to get some, they just want content. They'll pay for it. They just did this big deal with Fox, so they're just paying. It's money. Who give to these people? It's well, who gives a shit? They want content. So
yeah, I think for ESPN that's the plus. At the end of the day, you just launched this streaming platform. It doesn't have a ton on there right now that I think the masses are, I don't think people are breaking their necks trying to get ESPN Plus.
Are you telling me that CFL football isn't the next big thing?
I think we came up with the next big sport.
Oh no.
But but you're right. There's not much. I think the only thing they have in 2019, I believe they're going to have some baseball games, and I believe that they might have some NBA games as well.
Yeah, so
but you're probably not going to get marquee NBA games. You're not going to take those off of TV. So your $4.99 platform is
you're not getting your Golden States probably.
No, you're getting the Grizzlies against the the Grizzlies against the Suns if they do an international game maybe.
Right. So it's Yeah, I guess for ESPN, it's a content grab, which in this day and age, I guess content is king. So I guess that's good on them. For the UFC, that I think they just saw 750 mil. They probably just gasped and just signed the contract. You gotta make that $4 billion back somehow. But for like the fans and the fighters, especially because I'm looking at it as like I pay my little $9.99 a month for Fight Pass, which I enjoy because I love the fight library. It's as clunky as the website is, but like the library is great. I can get to watch prelims, all that good stuff. But for us, it's like, all right, so I'm paying $9.99 for Fight Pass. Then we have to pay for whatever for ESPN Plus. I'm still not really getting discounts on like pay-per-views. So like this is all just adding up to be another additional cost of me just shoving out more money. And then somebody else had brought it up. I can't remember where I saw this from, but like people are confused enough about the prelims are on Fox Sports 1 and then this part of the card is on Fox Sports 2 or then it's on. So now you're just moving the fights in all of these different arenas, and it's like, why can't this all just be centralized into one? I don't know. It seemed like a jerk reaction. Like they just, I don't know.
I mean,
I know the fans lose. The fans lose. I think we lose regardless.
I mean, we have to pay more for content, and it's. I will say this: I'm more confident in ESPN to promote these events, to deliver upon these events, than I am Fox. I think we've seen 7 years worth of Fox, and they really don't. They have MMA because they need to have MMA because they also need the content, but I don't think it's truly something they've grasped onto. So I think I've seen ESPN and they do a pretty decent job with promoting some of these top rank events that they have a handle on. The Golden Boy events they did pretty well on as well. So I'm a little bit more confident in them, but it's the UFC wanted a digital partner. This was a big thing for them. They mentioned it from Jump Street. Amazon Oath was another one that they were talking to, which is the Yahoo thing. Just Netflix, like they've wanted this, and I think that they just figured if ESPN, you're not going to get bigger than ESPN, so to speak, in sports. So if they're going to offer us a lot of money, we might as well take it.
Yeah. I mean, I can't fault the UFC for doing this. I can't fault them for basically hustling a major sports network, or I don't know, taking advantage of whatever. But
taking advantage of,
kind of.
I get that.
But what was I gonna say? I am kind of curious if when ESPN just went to the table with them, they were like, "Are we going to get title fights?"
I'm sure they promised them something.
Yeah, you have to.
I'm sure they promised them like a set amount a year.
So
because I don't think you can throw 750 mil, and we have to get some kind of marquee fights at some point.
So I'm fully expecting like Demetrius Johnson and Tyron Woodley to end up on there next year.
I was actually thinking Amanda Nunes.
Where to?
She's a lock for this. Like and Mighty Mouse too, but I think that Mighty Mouse is like the guy they rely on to quote unquote save a pay-per-view. So I don't know if they would put him on there, but we'll see. It is worth pointing out the title fight that they put on Fight Pass he's never been a title fight on Fight Pass, so.
All right. How many have they put on Fight Pass? Like the one?
Lightweight.
Yeah, Eddie Alvarez and
there was another one, but I can't remember. Yeah.
No, I think the next biggest one was like the Silva fights.
Silva Bisping and
They wanted in the Silva Gastelum fight they wanted to do, but I think that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. At the end of the day,
and again,
probably a win for both companies.
Like, yeah, and I mean, like, not to cut you off, but we don't know who they were negotiating with. Like, we know that they were talking to Amazon, and we know that they got really deep into negotiate. Or not, we don't know, but we believe, based upon rumors, that there were serious negotiations about Fight Pass with Amazon. So we don't know if ESPN was like, we're going to get jumped on this one and made a big offer, or what the case may be.
Right.
Because you always need somebody. You don't really, very few times do people bid against themselves.
I think Jeff Bezos was just like, you know what, screw this. I'm going to go to the moon.
You keep your mere fights. got planets to discover.
Like I want a condo on Mars, damn it.
But you know what? Look, credit to the UFC. They floated 450 million. It's come out that internally they were looking for closer to 350 million. They get this deal, and the Fox deal is rumored to be, if Fox or whomever they're going to get, is rumored to be in the excess of 200 million. They've kind of hit like what they were claiming they were going to try to get, at least internally. Now, granted, it took two different networks, but they deserve some credit for salvaging what is a pretty bad situation that they probably put themselves in.
Yeah.
But they kind of deserve some credit for getting out of it.
What
I mean,
what I'm really curious, like, how much does a fight night make for Fox Sports 1, where they're like, oh, your ratings have been going down since you got on the network. Why don't we give you an extra $100 million?
Some of that is just like business partnership. You've been with us for 7 years. We asked you to launch FS1 with us. You launched it. Like, some of it is a loyalty thing, I'm sure.
Right.
And the rest of it is just live. Look, people were panicking about NFL ratings and how far they were falling. And then their response to that was to ink a deal with Fox that basically gets them like $1 billion a year. So it's always like it's live sports content. It doesn't matter how bad it gets. People will pay for, like, the PFL is still on TV. And I'd imagine that if they could probably get some money if they were like an open TV property. Like, people they'll pay for it. Because it's the only thing that can guarantee you it's a presence on TV. Like, when a random UFC fight night starts trending, whatever the case may be, like, that's still a presence to people. It still means something to TV networks. So you're basically paying for a presence.
Right.
And I mean, what better presence than ESPN? You know, I ain't gonna say they hit the big leagues, but I mean, like you said, it's like the biggest sports outlet pretty much out there. So
I mean, it's still ESPN Plus. It's not like,
yeah, it's still it's
They're side and side with rugby right now.
hey, rugby's an international sport, my man.
Not in the U.S.
But
Well, what do you want me to tell you? Lacrosse.
Hey,
hey, I actually like lacrosse.
you know what I will say? ESPN, not even probably the most taken advantage of monetarily this week.
No, the people who paid for an Amanda Nunes pay-per-view main event were
whoa.
I went there. Let's go. Let's get on.
Well, I was going to say, to whatever billionaire owns DAZN, you know, I mean, I wish I had $1 billion to waste. Like,
I still don't know what the zone.
I don't either. I think this is made up, and I know he read all the statistics about it, but I still don't believe it exists.
It, according to Wikipedia, is an over-the-top subscription video-on-demand service owned by the Perform Group. I don't know what that means.
The Zone sounds like a sketchy club on the wrong side of town.
Well, Eddie Hearn goes to that sketchy club on the wrong side of town, and he came home with an 8-year, $1 billion deal.
Mother.
To host 32 fight cards, 16 US, 16 in the UK, on this random video service. That's like, so for the record, that's bigger than Showtime and HBO's budgets for boxing combined per year. So
balling out of control.
Still not as close to the amount of money Al Heyman has wasted on the PBC, but a lot of money.
Oh man.
Let this be a lesson to everybody.
Yeah.
I feel like somehow whoever handles the money for them and whoever handles the money for PFL are like connected. There's got to be some kind of just people throwing money places where it doesn't belong. But yeah, that's. Is there like a DAZN website? Is this like something I can look at?
I'm not Googling that. Not Googling the Zone. Not even spelled. DAZN. That's Dazn. That's not the zone.
I mean, it's a real website. I'm on it right now.
We will all take a quick trip. Dazn.
There it is. It's not even like thezone.com. It's like watch.thezone.com/ENUS.
Currently
Sports.
available in Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Canada, and Japan. I do not see the United States here.
Our goal is to engage a new generation of fans and take boxing to a new level in the U.S.
But we can't.
But the new home of fight sport.
I
So
feel that, just for the record, we should really Eddie Hearn, by the way. I think this makes him like the biggest big money player in boxing now. He's got to be at least in the Aram, maybe above the Arams and the Oscar De La Hoyas of the world.
oh, absolutely, dude. Like, Golden Boy made $8 million in 2015. That's it.
Man, that's gonna be the budget for Golden Boy MMA.
Like, Golden Boy MMA is gonna be like,
Yeah, that whole budget blown on Tito and Chuck.
Dude.
That's where
Dude,
the entire budget.
Did you see when they had Chuck on the ESPN Golden Boy show and he was the heavyweight champion? He was listed as MMA heavyweight champion.
Oh boy.
I mean, he is in boxing.
What a night. What a night. It's only 120, and what a night we've had.
Yeah. Let's because we could spend all day making fun of these all this
And look,
shenanigans.
we're happy. We're happy that we're happy that combat sports is getting money, and this is good. This is great for everybody. But like,
it's just weird.
yeah,
The way they do it is just like who is sitting in these meetings, and where's the guy who's supposed to raise his hand and be like, hey, I don't think we should do this.
There were no accountants allowed. They were out doing something.
But let's switch gears to Yair Rodriguez. Let's talk about this for a little bit. I mean, there's not much to dive in terms of what happened. He turned down the fight with Zabit, and then I also read that he allegedly turned down a fight with
Lamas.
Lamas. And after he turned down those two fights, the UFC told him don't let the door hit you on the way out, and now he's gone.
Is that official, by the way?
He did get
he's up.
I thought that they were gonna it was a fake, like he was gonna we're gonna release you, but they released him. So
no, he's done. Yeah, he's really out of here. Like from what I've heard, he's already saying that he's gotten offers from other promotions, but I don't think he's signed with anybody yet as of yet. But yeah, he's so Yair Rodriguez is out of the UFC.
I can't wait to see him on Combate Americas.
Right.
At 12 o'clock in the morning on a Friday.
But hey,
I had
number 2
mixed.
MMA organization in the world, according to someone. One dude.
I had mixed emotions when I saw this headline. But then, at the same time, I have a bias because I never root for the man, so to speak. I'm always against the man.
Same.
So I kind of by default sided with Yair.
I see what you're saying now.
But all right, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to be fair. So I get it. All right, from the UFC's point of view, it's like, hey man, I'm trying to look at it from their perspective. So it's like we're trying to get you some fights, some pretty notable fights. Between Lamas and Zabit, those are some pretty, Zabit, up and comer, been setting the world ablaze. Ricardo Lamas, established veteran. So it's like we're trying to get you some fights, and at this point, I guess from their perspective, it just kind of seems like you're not really getting with the program. But I don't get the first. I don't get like the go-to being okay. You're just out of here. Like I feel like that situation escalated so quickly. Like I could see if maybe it's like, all right, you don't want to take these fights. Your next fight will just stash you away on a prelim somewhere where like nobody's gonna watch you. I don't get how it jumped from I don't accept these two fights to, and it's not like I could see if Yair was just some, I don't know, I don't want to put anybody else on blast. I don't want to say any names, but like this is one of your up and coming prospects. You know you want that Mexican market so bad, and he could be a part of you getting that. Albeit he ran into Frankie, you know Frankie's gonna do what Frankie's gonna do, but he's still a top prospect, still an amazing young talent. Somebody I would hope if you're trying to build stars, if you're trying to get eyes, you know, to get people to get excited about somebody, this is one of the guys you can do that with. And you just kind of cast him aside like he's just like nothing. See, like I guess I see it from both sides, but I just feel like it was kind of harsh. Like I don't know. I thought it was a bit harsh to just let him just walk away. Like, or not even say let him walk away. They just kicked him out. Like,
Yeah. I understand it from Yair's perspective because I'm assuming he took the year off because that fight
yeah, with Frankie was pretty
brutal, eye-opening. You know, he went. From what I heard, he was traveling around a lot. He was in Vegas. He was in California for a little bit. I think he went down to Florida too. I'm not sure, but like he was actually getting work in. Like he hasn't been sitting on his hands. Like he's been actually trying to like improve. So like I understand he doesn't want to like. I'm going to assume he understands the game enough that like, oh, they want me to come back and fight Ricardo Lamas, or they wanted me to come back and fight, you know, Zabit Magomedsharipov, especially Magomedsharipov, and you know, use me to get that guy over or something like that.
all right.
Because that's kind of what this looks like. Joey, what was the stat you had on like guys who've been out for like a year?
4 and 15 this year.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like and like I'm sure he understands like the boxing game. Like his cousin's Yair Rodriguez, the dude who won the bronze medal at the 2016 Olympics for Mexico. Like I'm sure he understands like getting a rebound fight, you know, building your confidence, building yourself back up after like a big, devastating, one-sided ass whooping of a loss. So like, I see why he turned down those fights. Like, if you're not gonna watch out for yourself, who's gonna watch out for you?
Exactly.
Yeah, but I also understand the UFC's frustration. Like, you're trying to make fights. This dude's occupying a spot in your top 10 rankings. You got a guy who's coming up who everybody wants to, who all the hardcore fans want to see as fight a top 10 fighter. You're not sure if he's ready for that. This other guy doesn't have any wins over, you know, anybody in the top 15, but is occupying a spot. Let's put him in there with him and see how good he really is. Like, you know, I understand their perspective, but to just fire the dude, like you said, that seems kind of extreme.
Yeah.
It's never the big thing that causes the issue. It's always something smaller. So like I had talked about earlier, on my thing, it's never the big argument that causes the breakup. It's always like the little thing that follows it. So I wonder what, like, this had to have been snowballing and mounting for some time now. So I just wonder what that story was before this all went down. There must have been something that kicked this off, because you don't just release a top prospect in a market you have some value for unless there is serious issues. This didn't seem like a serious issue to me. It was a problem, obviously, but it didn't seem like a serious issue. So I'm left wondering two things. One is, what were the issues behind this that led to this really serious, almost rash judgment to cut him? And two, is Yair Rodriguez a victim of a current in MMA where they just can't get fights put together because nobody wants to fight anybody?
Right. That's what I was thinking.
Right. So I wonder if this was like, it could boil down to, hey, look, we value the Russian market way more than we value Latin America. This guy is turning down fights. He's turning down a fight with a fighter that we really want to start marketing. Basically what Anna Cole said in that regard. And look, we need to send a message to some of these guys that You can't be the guy turning down fight after fight after fight after fight, or we will cut you. Because their roster is so big that unless you're a major star, we've seen them let guys go.
Yeah.
Not re-sign Ryan Bader, not re-sign Rory McDonald, cut Frank Mir. Those kind of moves where they let dudes go and they'll just keep going. And so this felt like it feels like they're trying to send a message to other people through him. Because it's hard to get, like, you hear reporters who've been following the sport forever talk about how all promotions are having a tough time getting some guys just to get their name on the contract. So I wonder if they're like, Yair's a big name, big-ish name, we can make a statement here. And so they just went with it. Two other things, smaller issues, is one, who is Yair's manager and why didn't he step in to try and calm this down? Because that's what a manager really should do. Like, if you're some of these really high-level managers, like Ed Soros for years with Anderson Silva was kind of like the fire hydrant who put out the fires, and Ali Abdelaziz, the Kawas. These are the guys who are required to calm this mess down. So where are they? And two, is this a case where not having the Fertittas around impacted a decision because Dana White didn't have anybody who maybe he trusted or relied upon to just tell him no? You know what I mean? Because we've seen the Fertittas in the past step in and calm this kind of stuff down. It happened with Mirko Krokop one time, and the AKA situation, where it was like they stepped in and they put everybody back on a square level. So I wonder if Dana was just I don't want to say that he just made a rogue decision, because I'm sure he talked about it with everybody who was involved in it. But I wonder if maybe a cooler head was required to put everything back on an even plane. And that again goes back to the idea that there was something beyond just this that might have kicked off the bigger problem.
Yeah, because I was thinking, like, the roster's deep enough, especially in featherweight, where, like, even outside of the top 15, there are killers everywhere. The roster's deep enough to where you could have gotten Yair a quote-unquote tune-up fight, somebody you can match him up with to see if he's been improving, this whole time he's been off, and just gives to beat somebody else in the top 10 or top 15 he can go and carve up and, send them on their way. So, yeah, I kind of agree. It had to have been a snowball. Like, there must have been, like, 4 fights that fell through that day, and Yair was just the 5th, and Dana just flipped over a table, and he was just done.
And I think it's also worth pointing out that they've had this problem with Zabit. So maybe it was just like, fuck it, if people don't want to fight this guy, then we're going to cut the people who turn him down. Because, and it's like, I think we're going to see that as well with Peter Yan, because I believe he's on his 4th opponent for his UFC debut. So they've got really talented Russian fighters who are hard to market, who people don't want to fight. And I wonder if Yair was just like let's send a message.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I see both sides. Like I can get how you could be frustrated on both ends. So I won't completely just bash the UFC for this, even though, like I said, I think it was a bit harsh. Yeah, they probably were lacking a cooler head in the room, because there had to have been some way we could have flipped some matchmaking around and got this to work out. And maybe Yair and Zabit meet later down the road, instead of right now. But any destinations you want to see Yair go, or you think he might land to? Because there's no way he doesn't get picked up. Dude is way, and I saw some other people saying, like, well, other promotions won't want to pick him up because he's turning down fights. But I'm like, listen,
absolutely
man,
not.
Are they stupid?
No,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, where he goes will determine whether he winds up back in the UFC. Because I think if he goes to Bellator, that may be like a fuck you kind of situation.
Yeah.
But if he goes to the PFL, it's a little different. If he goes to Combach, I think he's the perfect fit for them. I don't know if his values. I couldn't see him going to like a KSW or an overseas market. He may just become one of those guys who doesn't sign an exclusive deal, just fights where he wants. But everybody will benefit. Everybody, I think, will come out okay on this.
I mean, there's always a chance he goes and ends up fighting in like ACB or something, because they seem to just sign up talent that gets cut from the UFC.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily for Yair, still really young, still got plenty of time to like reach his ceiling. There's no way you don't get scooped up by somebody. He'll he'll be in somebody's octagon. I'm positive by the end of this year, or at least like beginning of next year.
I think before he's 30, he'll be back in the UFC.
5 years is a long time, so I don't doubt it.
Well, I mean, like before 2020.
Ah,
No, he'll be
Unless
back. Well,
he
I
signs,
honestly wouldn't mind
unless he
seeing
signs
him
with
in-
Bellator.
Yeah, I was gonna say the plus I think of going with Bellator for me as a fan is just because like I feel like 45 at the top is just patty cake between like the same 4 people, so we can have insert new challenger. He might be able to shake things up, but yeah, if he goes to Bellator, yeah, I don't think they welcome him back with open arms if that doesn't work out. But he'll be somewhere. He'll be somewhere flying kicking somebody in the face. I'm pretty sure by the end of this year.
maybe Rodriguez versus McKee Jr. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, let's do it. There are a lot of Bellator has a lot of good matchups for him. Or like you said, I wouldn't mind seeing him, non-exclusive deal. He just goes to random promotions and just beats the crap out of people until he finds his way back in the UFC. He has options. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure his phone blew up the second that headline came up.
It's just a sad situation. It's unfortunate,
Yeah, it is. It's unfortunate, but I'll be fair in this one and say I can see it from both sides, even though the decision I thought was a bit rash. But you're in the business of making fights, and I guess if you feel somebody's not getting along with the program, then you got to let them go. I wouldn't have done it personally, but best of luck to Yair though. I'm pretty sure, like I said, he'll be in somebody's octagon by the end of this year. He'll have many more highlights to come.
Right.
It's definitely not the last we've seen of him.
But before we move completely off topic, I'm actually curious about your guys' opinion of this. Like for the longest time, it felt like the UFC's things they've been able to make all the big well, not all the big fights, but the right fights that the fans want to see. Like you got your number 2 guy versus your number 3 guy. They go fight your number 1 guy. Like those are the fights that the UFC like. That's what they built their reputation on being able to make, right? You get your company gets sold for $4 billion. The 2 guys who come and sit down on the phone with you, like the not 2 of them. Like which one was the one which Racquel was the one that would sit down and actually speak with the fighters? Was it Lorenzo?
Frank was
Right.
like a lingering presence, I believe.
Right. You get. I know a lot of managers didn't like Joe Silva, but like you find the odd person here or there who was able. He was a guy who was able to get shit done. Like he got guys to step in. He got guys to come and fight. With them gone, like, do you think there's just something behind the scenes where like guys don't feel indebted to the UFC anymore? Like they're just not going to take the fight because it's the fight the UFC offered.
I think that's certainly possible. I think losing Joe Silva was a big thing, but I mean, like there are a lot of people who felt like Joe Silva was abusive at times and how he would get fighters to take fights. We've heard complaints. Dominic Cruz on an FS1 program was when they inducted Joe Silva into the Hall of Fame was honest that like Silva would shout you into taking fights.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe the dominating presence just isn't there anymore. It's possible, but I've also heard that other organizations are having tough times getting these guys to sign. So I don't know if it's just a change in fighter logic.
I think and this could be a reach, but I feel like it's kind of happening in all areas of sports if you pay attention, to where I think players, even like the NBA, NFL, MMA, like you said earlier, nobody's going to look out for you like you can. So people are really just, I think we've seen enough fighters get done dirty, and fighters might do a favor. Let's say I take this fight on short notice and I lose and they cut me anyway, and I thought I was doing them a favor by taking this fight. I think we've seen enough of those situations to where fighters are just like, you know what, I need to just do what's best for me. Forget this, I'm fighting for the brand, I'm fighting for this and that. Like, I just need to do what's best for me. And if I don't think it's going to benefit my career in a positive way, then I'm just not going to, I'm just not going to do it. And if I got to get cut for that, then it is what it is. I think more people are starting to be in this for the long haul instead of, this quick buck here and there, because
I think that's true. But I also think that that's ironically hurting combat sports, at least, because there's the worst label to have, at least in MMA, in my opinion, from a fan perspective, is to be known as the person who's difficult.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Tyron Woodley. No, Tyron Woodley stands up for himself, and I think that that's really admirable. But to the fans, he's he's picky, and I think that fans pick up on that. And it does help or doesn't help that you have Conor McGregor, who to the public perception fights everybody, anybody, anytime, et cetera, et cetera. Now, we may know that to be a little different because, he never fought Khabib, he didn't fight Tony Ferguson. But coming up, at least, he fought everyone, and he was smart enough to, if a guy dropped out, he'd volunteer. He was never going to get the fight, but he threw his name out there. Hey, I'll take that fight. Diego Sanchez in Mexico. Joe Lozon falls out, and he's like, I'll fight Diego Sanchez in Mexico at 155. Doesn't matter if he was never going to get that fight. It's just the fact that he volunteered. Whereas, and I discussed this during the UFC 219 when they were looking for a main event, and Tyron Woodley had the opportunity to step up into the main event. And he kind of played it like, well, if it's the right guy, I'll fight him. If it's the right XYZ. Fans don't want to hear, I don't think the public wants to hear that so much as they want to hear that you will or you won't. Like, when you put conditioners on things, it makes them feel like you're really not committed to it. And
right, that's where you start getting, that's when people start doing that the duck word around.
Yeah, and I mean, there's very few examples of guys ever really getting ducked. And Tyron Woodley had the right to pick and choose if he wanted to fight or not. He was trying to save a card. If not, don't fight. Which he didn't. But it's like, I think to the public perception, it just comes off very wrong. And it's like, you're trying to get these people to pay to see you fight. And your public perception is very important. So being known as the guy who's difficult in whatever way, shape, or form, it just kills your stock, right off the jump. So if you want to balance that, you got to build the equity before you balance it. You know what I mean? You got to be like a guy like John Jones, so I'll fight Shogun 2 weeks notice for the title. And then you can start getting a little picky and choosy because then the public at least knows that you're that kind of guy.
And I guess to double back to Yair, I guess that would be another point on the UFC is I mean, you're an up-and-comer, but you're not like a champion. Like, who are you to turn down, I guess that's how they could look at it like that in terms of him.
Yeah.
Like, who are you to be turning down fights? Like, you haven't built up the equity that everybody else
I'm sorry, I forgot that Jones fought Shogun on, super short notice. Because, he turned down the Chael fight.
And he turned down Gus, too, to fight Glover.
Right.
But once you build up that equity, you can Ronda Rousey fought. I was just doing the math in my head about a different article. Ronda Rousey fought in February, then she did Tough, then she fought in December, then she fought in February, then she filmed a movie and did some UFC stuff, and then fought again in July, and then fought again in November. So she never allowed the opportunity to develop where you would be like, well, she's not fighting Cyborg, because she was always kind of doing something. Whereas these other fighters, they fade out of the public eye, and then when you hear about them in 6 months, it's that they're not fighting X or they're not fighting Y. So it's you gotta kind of build that relationship where you can pick and choose because the fans know that you're legitimately, the fans believe in you that you're gonna fight eventually.
Right.
It's a thin line to really walk.
Yeah, because it's your it should always be for the fighters. It should always be your business first. What's best for you?
Right.
But sometimes what's best for you is probably
it's not best for the consumer.
Yeah, or it what's best for you is also probably worse for you. If I take this fight, it's on short notice. Max Holloway. It was not in Max Holloway's best interest to try and fight Khabib on a week's notice coming off shoulder surgery. But I don't think he was hurt by trying. So, you have to be able to balance that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a hard game to play. Thank God I'm sitting here behind a mic.
Yeah. I mean, Anti-Cool and I just were discussing it this week. Could you imagine being a lifer on that side? Bob Arams and Dana White's who've been doing this for 20, 30 years. You gotta be numb to the world.
I think if I owned a promotion, it would probably be terrible because I don't really like conflict and I don't really like dealing with people. So I probably would just let everybody just kind of do what they wanted as long as you're fighting. Who cares about
Like,
rankings? Just
you know where you see it then, because there's so many people who interact with him, and like he is a character on his own product. Vince, like,
Yeah.
if you want to know what like your Bob Arums and your whatever, like wherever these other people are like when they're not in front of a microphone at like at the desk, like go look up a Vince McMahon story. They're
I'd really hope Bob Arum knows what a burrito is.
But the cognitive dissonance, the living in your own little bubble,
Right.
all that's what they look like. That's probably what they sound like when they're not,
Yeah, like we talk about it all the time, like, or I've told the story before where they were trying to talk to Dana White about the SFL when it first started, and he had no fucking clue what that was.
right.
Like, because you're so consumed with like the day-to-day operations of your clown show that you have no idea.
I mean, and it makes sense. Yeah, that's just a lot to manage. Like, that's a stressful position to be in.
He didn't know about he didn't know about KSW. He didn't know that there was MMA in Poland.
But like, you got to think, like, as much as we, might poke fun at Dana and disagree with him, like, that's a extremely busy lifestyle. Like, you don't have time to sit around and, everything you're doing has to be involved with your business. Like, that's one of those jobs that you don't really clock out.
I mean, look at the number of times where the press will ask him about a fight, and he'll ask if that was like even announced. Like there's a saying like there are so many pies being thrown at you, you never know which one you're ducking. Like that could be kind of like a situation being like an MMA promoter.
Yeah, it's hard knock life.
Especially when you have to promote 40 cards a year.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, but let's be realistic. He's not.
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. I don't think he's promoting much of anything nowadays.
No, I mean, like, he
No,
still does
no.
the pay-per-view rounds, but you don't see him at these little, like, the fight night events anymore. It's difficult. And I think this is where not having Chael Sonnen hurt them, because I truly believe Chael was going to start doing those. Like, when Fox was kind of done with him, hands off when he failed those drug tests repeatedly,
Yeah.
I think that he probably would have been Dana White. Like, he probably would be doing the Dana White fight nights.
Chael's got bigger goals.
Yeah, boy.
on,
No,
but,
can't run into
yeah.
Just
Champ
got
Bader.
I think we should just
big money.
Big money Bader.
Yeah, let's just transition on over to that. I guess real quick, because I wanted to mention, we're not doing fight announcements because we're kind of on a time crunch. But Chad Mendez is coming back after I forgot, God knows how long he's
2
been
years?
gone. But
Sound like that?
it's
December
it feels so
2016.
much longer.
Why do I
He'll
know
be
that
back
off the top
fighting
of my head?
Miles.
Oh,
That's what you're here for.
that's when Frankie stole his soul.
No, wait, 2016. Proceed.
Well, he'll be back fighting Miles Jury. I don't have what card that's
15.
on.
Boise.
But, Boise. Okay. So that'll be awesome.
Yeah, what's up with
Definitely
those Boise
looking forward
people
to
getting
that.
this amazing?
Yeah, you guys are getting...
Yeah,
That card is great.
I mean, it's got James Vic Paul Felder. It's got Blagoy Ivanov and JDS.
And JDS. Yeah, you guys got some good stuff going on over there.
Yeah.
90% of Americans can't even point to freaking Idaho on a map. And
Yeah, I'm definitely a part of that 90. I know the general
Oh
area.
my god, it's so sad. So sad.
and these people,
I know that
people
shit.
get a heat card. I'm just saying, like,
Sorry, after that card, I'll make sure I know where you guys are on the map. I'll make sure.
Are we gonna do a geography session?
Oh boy, I would be terrible.
No, but good for.
I
But
would
this
be
is like they
terrible.
always come to these random cities and bring really great cards, and then they come around to like California, and it's like, well, who's not doing anything?
Right.
So
who
Norfolk-
didn't we send to
Oh,
Boise?
man.
Yeah, like I just imagine Dana walking into the office like, you fucking put that fight in Boise, Idaho?
Oh, well, I mean, speaking of California, that's where Mr. Bader and company. Oh boy, this card. What's this? Bellator 199. San Jose, California. The entire card lasted like 5 minutes.
Are you sure John Fitch probably lasted like 5 years?
Okay, so he took up 4 of the
I
5
see.
minutes.
Jellyfish fights exist outside of time and space.
Right.
That's why they never end.
I guess we won't spend a ton of time on these fights, but we'll give some brief mentions. There was some happenings going on and some pretty good finishes. Main event: Ron Bader, King Mo, in the quote unquote heavyweight tournament.
I mean, that was a heavyweight punch.
Ended, yeah. This fight ended in what, like 20 seconds, 15. Yeah, there was like one punch the entire fight. Well, one punch that mattered. Bader caught King Mo, I think it was a left hook. And that was it. And there's not really a bunch to dissect. Left hook, King Mo died, and Ron Bader goes on. Did he get Mitri on that?
Yes.
Yeah, Ron Bader's gonna probably win the heavyweight tournament. My prediction was whoever won between these two was winning the whole thing, and I'm gonna stick to my guns with that. So I'm gonna have Ron Bader winning the entire heavyweight tournament.
What's up with King Mo just falling apart like in the big moment since like Strikeforce ended?
I mean, he even did it in Strikeforce. Remember with Fejao?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And the thing is, I honestly thought he was gonna win this. Like, I thought he had a pretty good chance at winning this fight, and it kind of sucked. He didn't really get a chance to show anything. Like, he just
right.
It was just one hit, and that was all she wrote. Yeah, King Mo's had a really interesting career. Like, I feel like he's just in that weird space where it's like you're a top guy, but like you're in like that weird middle ground where like anybody below you, you'll send them away, but everybody else other than those people, it's kind of like a toss-up, almost. But either way, Bader got him out of here. Not much to dissect. So we have Bader and Mitrione on one side of the bracket, and Chael and Fedor on the other side. So Bellator heavyweight tournament.
Good for Ryan Bader.
Right, yeah, good for
I'm not
Ryan
just saying it because his biggest fan is here. I beat it.
Yeah.
I mean, post UFC career,
Bader's
doing
an
pretty
example
good.
of a guy who's making the most out of what he has left.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It just so happens it's in a division where most guys don't have anything to give.
I was thinking right after he won, if he wins the tournament, he should have a final boss fight, a rematch with Tito.
He has to do the third fight with Phil Davis, a heavyweight.
Look, if they do that,
God.
I'm holding you directly responsible. I'm holding you directly responsible.
Oh my God.
And like,
What is Phil Davis doing while these guys are in like the heavyweight tournament?
I hope he's working on a better head kick.
retiring.
Yeah, or that.
No, Phil Davis isn't.
And nothing against Phil
No, he's
Davis.
nice
I just,
fella.
yeah, that I'm not one to skip out on fights. That might be one of the few fights I purposely went out of my way to not watch, because I knew it wouldn't treat me good. I
You
knew
have to
it.
protect
I
yourself.
knew it.
I will say I enjoyed Bader Davis won, but that was primarily because I was like, there's no way Phil Davis was going to beat Ryan Bader because Phil Davis doesn't do anything.
You know what? Like, that fight happened at I think like 2 a.m. in Sweden.
Yes, it did.
Like, that's punishing. You can't do that to people.
Yeah.
That's a form of torture.
And then you woke him up just to watch Gustafsson get KO'd. That's
Oh
so
my
unfair.
God. I don't mean to go on a side rant. I shouldn't even bring
Go
this
ahead.
up.
We're
If you
here.
said the
We're
word
here.
torture.
We're here.
Did you guys see the Tim Kennedy, the waterboarding?
I did. I wasn't waterboarding.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm mad.
I don't pay attention to anything Tim Kennedy does.
Yeah, I don't. A lot of it.
Well, I only saw it because it became a news article.
Yeah. It was one of those things that like it got reposted one too many times on my timeline. I was like, oh God, what is he doing now?
And it's one of those things where like, oh, this like somebody who doesn't know MMA is like, oh, I guess this is what all those UFC guys are like.
Yeah. God. But on to better things. I don't want to get.
I mean, you say on to better things, but the next fight is John Fish versus
I mean, though, there's some. There was the most exciting moment of this fight.
It ended.
Wasn't even a punch. Co-main event. John Fitch makes his Bellator debut against Paul Daly. My hope coming into this fight, and it's nothing against John Fitch. I was just banking on on Daly having just that one explosive moment and maybe just being able to finish. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. I think he had moments in the first. He had Fitch up against the cage. He was landing some decent shots, but like after that, it was just it was a Fitch fight. It was a Fitch fight in every way possible, shape and form.
You guys, I can't hate John Fitch because I've seen the way he lives, and it's kind of sad. Like, did you guys ever see that MMA Cribs episode where like they send some woman to his apartment?
Oh no.
It's really sad. Like, you're like, these are my
I thought he has
videos.
a house.
He might have one now, but like the episode I saw, some woman they sent him to his apartment, and this poor man had to like go, like was just showing him around his like dirty ass apartment. Like, this is when he was like this is when he was the number 2 elsewhere on the planet,
Oh my god.
and he starts showing her
man.
his video games. And I'm
At least
like,
he's got
oh
that
my-
Bitcoin money coming in now. Though. Should be on easy street.
Right. He's secretly.
You know
balling
what?
now.
Like John Fitch related. Everything about his fighting style is. I don't blame him anymore. I blame people who put him on TV. It's like it's not his fault. It's all he can do. Like, you have to respect the guy for making the most of what he's got. But it's just, you put Aaron Pico on this card, and it's like you want people to see Aaron Pico fight because he's really exciting and really, really good for a young fighter. But you put him on this card where it's like John Fitch and Brian Bader are booked. No, like nobody's gonna tune in for that. For that poor guy, you're burying this poor prospect under literal blankets. So I feel for Aaron Pico and John Fitch too, because he can only do what he can.
yeah.
And I mean, to John Fitch's credit, he's one of those guys that, like, when you fight him, you already know what's gonna happen. Like, he's not switching anything up. You know what he's gonna do, and like, if you can't stop it, then, you know, I guess your only recourse is to do what Daly did, and you just boo literally while you're getting grounded and pounded. If you guys didn't watch this fight, please just go back, watch the third round. There's a moment where Daly gets taken down, and he's literally booing into the crowd as John Fitch is punching him in the face, and he just doesn't care. Like, it's just, it was so bizarre.
Did we mention this fight was a punishment for Daly?
No,
Oh yeah, he's
well,
out.
the last time I was here, we talked about like the fight being booked. It was like Paul Daly's going to wind up in another organization. We'll have more complaints.
He will go fight. He will go fight for Sakagebara, whatever, in Japan.
Yeah, hey.
Paul Daly's just one of those guys who it's always someone else.
Yeah,
Because this is like the third organization he's had some kind of a.
I mean, this fight was John Fitch's fault. In Paul Daly's mind, not the fact that Paul Daly couldn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Paul Daly, I was rooting for you, man. I like Paul Daly, but yelling into the crowd is not a form of defense. So,
It is hilarious though. So
yeah, it's great TV.
Paul Daly, like, you know those like BKB things that they're doing now?
oh yes.
I think he would be amazing at that.
Oh, piece of side news. What's her face?
So John Fitch, I will body you in fight night, John Fitch. I'm looking at this video. If you, John Fitch, if you can hear this, if that Xbox is still hooked up, we can play fight night.
Oh my God.
You can catch these
But,
hands virtually.
Side news. Beck Rawlings, former UFC and Invicta strawweight, flyweight, whatever, is going to be part of bare knuckle fighting championships. So
Oh yeah, I did see that. I saw
So,
that.
you know, even more incentive to tune in.
Jesus Christ.
For a second there, I kind of spaced out. I thought you were pitching Paul Daly against Beck Rawlings. I was
Oh,
like, what?
no. Oh,
Thanks.
that would be
That's
mean.
not.
That would be mean.
Yeah, that's. You
I
can't
was just
promote
like,
that kind of
what?
violence.
I was like,
Now,
what is he talking
now
about?
Paul Daly versus Frank Shamrock.
No. No.
I mean, Frank Shamrock's already out here doing the bare knuckle thing. Or at least he was supposed to.
No. Come on now. Come on now.
But
Paul
shout out to John
Daly
oh,
against
but
Gabriel Rosado. No, I was just thinking like they could do Gabriel Rosado.
Hey,
I think he's doing BKB. I'd watch that.
I feel like Paul Daly punches too hard. He's going to end up breaking his hand.
probably on the first
Yeah.
punch. He's gonna wing one, and like if he doesn't KO you, his hand's broken. Or he breaks his hand and you die simultaneously.
Right.
But shout out to John Fitch. You know, Fitch gonna Fitch. He came over to Bellator. Who would have thought John Fitch is the hired hitman? He's the muscle contact in your phone. We don't want this guy in our organization over here. Come get him out of here.
I'm trying to think who the UFC's version of John Fitch is. That like
It was John Fitch.
it was John Fitch. That's a good point. Or Okami.
God, you destroyed Eric. You destroyed Eric Silva.
Or Okami. They'll call
John-
Okami up.
John Fitch is a plant.
He's a plant. I felt like a plant immobile watching this entire thing.
Dude, he's on some type of winning streak, man.
Yeah,
5 in a row. Yushin Okami, Jake Shields, Jao Seferino, and now Paul Daly. So
That may all be true, but like, you'd have to be fighting them in like CZW Tournament of Death style fights for me to, for that to have any significance to anybody.
I'm sure his mom cares.
His video game collection has probably greatly expanded since then.
No, he had a child, so you can't be playing video games when you're a parent. You gotta,
I mean,
probably a tremendous parent.
you
That's
put
easy.
the kid in the baby seat and then you go play Dark Souls for like
There you
6
go.
hours.
Moving on to the next fight. Aaron Pico, Lee Morrison.
Squash.
I've never seen somebody roll from a body punch. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
See, I'm starting to think these fights are
and-
fixed.
Stop it. Stop it.
And side,
I'm not getting some kind of letter.
And side note, I didn't rewatch any of these fights for Bellator, so I don't remember these a lot in detail. So all I remember from the Pico fight is the finish where he hits Lee Morrison so hard to the body that Lee Morrison tumbles back and does a full-blown like reverse James Bond roll. And
It was kind of like a judo roll, wasn't it?
proceeds to eat some ground and pound, and that's it. That's I do like that Pico does it. I think it's a good part of his game that he goes to the body like very often, and he uncorks when he goes to the body. Like he goes for the body like people go for KO shots, and it's working. So
Did y'all hear the Pico curse?
no, it's
He's
Pico.
already talking about wanting to compete in boxing.
Okay, Pico.
Once a fighter
Pico.
says that, it's like that's it. Like you start losing right immediately after that. That's what happened with Ronda.
You're thinking too
Hey,
far.
Stipe beat the curse.
too-
I'm just saying, Stipe wanted to go fight Joshua.
True,
Still
but
does.
Manoa got KO'd by Vulcan.
Well,
And heavyweight MMA doesn't count because it's not real stiff.
Sure.
Dude, I was watching Pennsylvania Polka. I Tumblred about this. They move like heavyweights. Like they were like 77-year-old men and I'm like, man, heavyweights are unathletic. Like there was like the speed of Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis and Mark Hunt and Alexei Oleinik, because the Oleinik fight happened right after it came on. So I saw Oleinik, and then I'm watching these old dudes shuffle around to some like polka music, and I was like, Oleinik would be a hell of a polka dude, because he was that speed.
I was gonna say real quick on Pico. How long do you think they keep? Is he gonna get the MVP treatment, or do you think he's gonna get like a step up?
I mean, these are all guys who are way better than guys he actually should probably be fighting. In random regional dude, like I get there's like a balance between Zach Freeman and Lee Morrison, but like
he's so good as a young guy that you really don't even have a proper barometer for what he should be fighting.
Yeah.
And-
I think at this point I'd like to see like give him give him that like established veteran test. Like give him an older guy, not somebody who's necessarily a pushover, but somebody who's been around the way a few times, who isn't just gonna, well, I don't know who they might fold under a punch. Apparently he makes people James Bond right, so they might be next. But
if we tried to compare it to boxing, I think he's at that point where he fights a former like WBA champion from 4 years ago, who had kind of like a fluke run, and he's credible, but he's not going to win. But you're going to learn some things about him.
Right.
But I
give him one of those.
I struggle to see who that is in Bellator. Because
yeah, you might not be able to find that in Bellator. You might have to.
You can dig somebody out of the. They dig John Fitch out of the fucking.
Yeah.
Depths. They can find a guy. I'm trying to think of who it would be though, but I don't. A Gray Maynard, if Gray Maynard got cut, I guess.
Go find where Mark Hominick is and just offer him a whole bunch of.
No, let's not do that. Let's not do
Look
that.
at that.
Like
I can't support
you
that.
united us against you on Mark Hominick.
I don't know. Go. What's the dude the crazy dude who was supposed to fight Aldo, and then ended up Grisby, who ended up like beating his wife or something.
Is he still alive?
He's in jail, I believe.
Oh, forget that.
Wasn't the story that he sicked his dog on his wife, or am I thinking of someone else?
Yeah, and then he went on like
Jesus
Dr.
Christ.
Phil, and his wife defended him or something.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
that's another discussion for another.
Yeah, that's another.
that's a different podcast where I'm not on because.
Yeah, I'm not on that. I called out that day.
Oh, you called out that day? Okay. You pulled the stove into your.
Like, what's Andy Oval up to? Just like I'm just pulling random dudes out of a hat.
You want to go through the whole Tough 15, the Tough Live roster?
Where's George Roop?
Oh, come on, that's not nice. That's like 20 pounds over George Roop's original weight, and he was chinny at 135. So you're just gonna, oh my god, we're just gonna.
Oh, he would. Ooh, that would be bad. That would be bad.
What's not Eddie Wild? Ian Loveland. I don't know why I always get them confused. Ian Loveland.
There'll be somebody out there.
What weight class is Pico at here?
45.
Oh, 45. I was naming 55ers.
I mean,
did he start at 55 and then went down?
Yeah, I don't even know anymore, dude.
Let's get Hasu Hiyoki.
But
there were 5 fights, like 5 fight cards.
No, you know what? At this point, my faith in Hiyoki has been deteriorated. So if he gets crushed, I won't feel bad.
I mean, he got knocked out in the first round of his last 2 fights.
Lozon?
No.
I mean,
no.
Are you saying no because you don't want to see that, or because you think he'd win?
Yes.
No, he's not.
Perfect. Perfect response. This is quality podcast.
I'm just like, I can see a scenario where Pico beats the ever living crap out of him, but gets caught in like, I don't know, like a knee bar.
I don't know. Can we shout out Czech Congo? Because I'm pretty sure Real in Place is going to listen to this. So let's.
Yeah.
Czech Congo. Hell of a KO.
Yeah. Caught Jay. How do you say his last name? Ayala. Then I think he was just like kind of just coming in and caught a left, and
it was a very Congo finish.
It was. Yeah.
Off the
there
fence.
We go.
Not bad.
I don't have the tense sound effect. That'd be perfect.
God.
But yeah, he killed the guy. Czech Congo killed.
Got to admit, this was a dumpster fire, and I think we put it out. I think we're okay now.
Why was Czech Congo not in the heavyweight?
Because he lost to King Mo.
Oh, because he's Czech Congo, and you can only have so many of those type of grinding snoozers at one time.
I think he's the winningest heavyweight in Bellator history. Like, I think this was his 9th or 10th win in Bellator.
Oh, I'm gonna have to count.
He passed Cole Conrad.
I only remember the Augusto Sakai.
Yes, who's fighting in the Dana White Contender Series
in Brazil.
Yeah. Hopefully he's lost some weight.
See, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 10.
Damn. Did Congo even have 10 wins in the UFC?
Probably.
Did he even fight 10 times?
Did he fight? That's rude. You know, we have Congo fans who listen to this. Let's be nice now.
That's true. I like Czech
You
Congo.
can't
I
just
don't have
double
any.
back on that.
I'll be double
Oh.
nice. Czech Congo is officially better than Sergey Karatinov. So there we go.
3,
Mm.
5,
Mm. Mm.
7, 8, 9. He has 11. No, he has 14 UFC wins.
Oh,
Oh,
No, wait, 1,
I'm sorry, Czech Congo. I apologize,
5,
Czech.
6, 7.
I mean, he's
No,
getting there.
11 UFC wins.
He's getting there.
I apologize. I
The
doubt
12th one will be for the title against Ryan
it.
Bader.
Czech Congo.
I might need to have eye surgery that day, and I won't be able to do the podcast again. Sorry, guys.
Shout out to Czech Congo though. Out here, still flatlining people. I can't comment on this next fight because I actually missed this one.
Yes, same.
Adam Piccolotti got a rear naked choke over Carrington Banks. And James Terry got a decision over Danasabe Mohammed. Real quick before we get off Bellator though, I want to shout out one of these prelim fights. Amanda Leibrock and Janae Harding. Two featherweights in the women's division, which is great because it's a featherweight not named Chris Cyborg, not named, who else is out there? I don't know. Nobody's really not
Megan
named
Anderson.
Megan Anderson. They put on a really good fight. It was a really just back and forth, kind of slugging it out, but Leibrock ended up getting that decision. Really awesome fight. Two featherweights that Bellator should definitely bring back, and try to build them up. Hopefully they can find people to fight, but got to give that fight a shout out. It was really.
I think
awesome.
Leibrock is locked into a long-term contract or a multi-fight contract anyway.
Hopefully, yeah. She's pretty. She's pretty good. She's pretty good. Man, we still got the Loma fight and the UFC.
We get off topic a lot.
We do.
I don't think we started.
We
I don't think we started on time.
Have we started the podcast?
Goodness gracious. Goodness.
I guess real quick before we go to the UFC, we'll go over the Loma fight.
It's
real
really
quick. We don't have
good.
to spend a ton of time. Yeah. This fight was. I didn't get a chance to rewatch the whole thing over again. But this fight was really really good. I think Loma showed he's still in the Matrix. Linares pulled him out of the Matrix for a moment. He had some moments where he brought him back to earth a couple times, but overall though, man, Loma is yeah, man, he's different. There's some people that are just cut from a different cloth than the rest of us, and I think he's one of those dudes. It's crazy how he just, the angles he works when he fights. He'll pop you with 2, 3, 4, and then he'll angle off, and you'll swing, nothing's there, and then you get popped with another 2, 3, 4. And then he ducks to some other area where you're not at, that you're swinging and nothing's there. It's insane to watch. But props to Linares though. I mean, he dropped Loma, which from my understanding, I'm pretty sure that's the first time he's been dropped. I'm gonna guess.
First time since amateur days.
Yeah, I think on
Yeah.
the broadcast they said 07, 08.
Yeah, and he caught him with a good one. Loma got caught slipping for a brief moment. He kind of came in real. I think he was feeling himself a little bit, and Linares brought him back down to earth. I mean, Linares had moments. I don't want to make it seem like he got slaughtered or like it wasn't remotely competitive, but I just think it was just too much footwork. Too much of Loma's really good at that mid to close range, and he just kind of works that area exceptionally well. And Linares just he would catch Loma sometimes where Loma might stay in the pocket for a second or two too long, and he would catch him with something. But overall, man, Loma he had to work for the win, but it was still it was really 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 impressive. Just beautiful to watch.
Dude is a generational talent. Right now in boxing, it's him, Bud, and I think Spence is gonna end up being that type of talent too. But yeah, no, The things he's able to do in like the ring, they're so basic, but the way he's able to pull them off is just so masterful, and the way he's able to abuse your reaction to anything he does is just sublime. It's actually I want to say one of the judges had it even, and one of the judges had Linares ahead, 6-5. Was it 6-5? No. Well, one of the judges I know had him ahead on the cards.
I can kind of buy that because I believe Dan Raphael had it very close as well.
Yeah, I'm not upset about that reading.
I mean, I think according to I can't remember how it was at the end of the fight, but there was a point in the fight where they were reading off the stats, and like their strike totals were very close.
Which I found surprising. I didn't think Linares was throwing that much.
Yeah, yeah. 'Cause to me, it looked like a big volume discrepancy, but yeah, I guess I don't know. But I feel like Linares. Well, I guess he kind of tried it. I wish he would have stuck with the body shots a bit more, but he ended up going low on a couple of them. So I don't know.
That probably threw him off.
Yeah, might have threw him off because he probably was close to getting a point deducted. But I feel like that might be the one way to might be the only way to slow a guy like that down. Like you gotta get those body shots off early and often, and hope that by like 5th, 6th, 7th round, maybe he by chance just starts to slow down a little bit, and then you can, pick him apart a little more. But yeah, Lomanchenko's in the Matrix, and the rest of us are just watching. And we just live here, but he owns it. I guess the quick segue for the question we got from Stokes. I'm not the most knowledgeable boxing fan, so I'm just going to pass this off to you guys because I don't have an answer for this. But Stokes' question was, who can beat Lomachenko?
I would say the obvious answer is like Mikey Garcia. But even like just because that's the that's the best opponent in the weight class right now. I don't know, somebody at 140, 147.
Yeah, I would agree that whoever beats him is who's going to beat him is going to be the guy who gets him at the weight class where he's just not fit for.
Yeah.
Like whoever, when he makes that decision to go up one step too far, then I think he'll lose.
Because he looked tiny here.
Yeah.
He is a natural 126 pounder. He like, for those who don't follow boxing, that's featherweight. Like that's Demetrius Johnson size going up against a dude fighting at 135.
Right. What about Davis?
I think Davis could give him some problems, but
I
don't know. I could see that though. Because
I think Davis can surprise him. Like if he catches him early, I think he could put him down and out because Davis hits hella hard.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's a power hitter. So if he could catch him clean, like the way Linares did, he might be able to get him out of there.
And I think Lomachenko, side to side is faster, pure explode in type of like linear movement. Like it's probably definitely Gervonta in terms of just like the dude who gets off the line quicker. But I don't think he beats him like by decision.
I mean, I have nothing to add other than what you guys said. I mean, you guys covered this whole fight perfectly. I just wonder what the end result payoff is for him. Because a guy his size has never really sold big pay-per-views as a boxing guy. Or he hasn't sold big pay-per-views ever. Like Manny Pacquiao eventually had to go up to 140, 147 to be a big money draw. And those Morales, Barrera, Pacquiao, Marquez fights, they did well, but they didn't do big numbers, and that was in a better pay-per-view market. So I just wondered what the end result, because eventually you have to assume that this guy's too good. Eventually he's going to become too expensive for free TV. So what happens when we hit that point? Like
he moves to Matchroom and Daz and then gets paid like $5 million.
Christ. Goes to the zoo for boxing.
There we go. Like, because he's so special. Like he's so special, and he's very charismatic. Like he seems like a person, like the sort of fighter who can attract people. So how do you do that? How do you maximize that value? The ROI has always been pay-per-view. Maybe that changes, but Until we see a true change, I have to assume you got to figure out how to sell this guy on pay-per-view.
Like, I think he'll always have like a place as a spectacle fighter because he's the one. Like, anytime he cut an angle in this fight, the crowd were on their feet, like cheering their heads off.
He's a graceful athlete. He's all offense. Watching him on defense is fun. He makes defense fun. You know, you I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was like the end of the 6th round before that, like the round before the knockdown, where he unloads like a 10-punch combination at the end of the round, and Linares is just looking at him like, "What the fuck are you even made of?" And he's shit talking him the whole time. Like that's a special athlete.
Right.
So how do you maximize that?
Whoa, let me hear you.
Like, I don't know. I honestly got done.
It's almost like the curse of being in the lower weight classes.
We see it in MMA, Mighty Mouse.
Yeah, because like you look at the skill and it's like I don't get how other people don't get excited watching this, but we'll and when I say will, I don't mean us in specific, but you'll down talk the little guy who is like technique wise just like on god level, but we drool over heavyweights who are tripping and falling over their feet after 2 rounds. And it's like, I don't
call Deontay Wilder out like that, man.
I thought he was talking about Jarrell Miller, right? Isn't that the big dude who was like Vader size out there?
Yeah.
I don't get the disconnect. I don't.
I don't understand why boxing fans don't. We know that MMA fans come from pro wrestling where size was king for so many years. So I get that from their perspective, but boxing, I was all like, I just don't understand how like Bernard Hopkins would outsell like the Barrera Morales fights. It just never made sense to me. I couldn't wrap my head around it.
One thing to always remember is like a vast amount of not the vast majority, a good amount of people who watch any sporting event don't kind of just don't know what sport they're watching. Like, the vast majority of the people who ordered a Floyd Mayweather pay-per-view don't know literally anything else about boxing other than Floyd Mayweather. The vast amount of people who ordered the Conor McGregor pay-per-views don't know shit else about MMA.
Ronda fans, et cetera, et cetera.
Right? Yeah. And most of them are sports fans. They come from sports where like you're like Chris Paul is considered a small person. When if Chris Paul was standing in the room next to me, he'd dwarf me. I could probably hide behind him.
Proceed.
That's weird. Chris Paul is like
so like
6'1".
yeah.
Just exposed how small he is as a person.
Like no, I'm 5'10". Like I don't give a fuck.
I see.
I'm 5'9" on a good day.
Like I'm an average size dude. I'm just saying like NBA size. Like Chris Paul's like you watch him on TV, small dude. Like,
yeah.
Like these guys, like sports fans come from these other sports where like your average dude is 6 foot tall, 6 foot something, like 250 pounds. Like,
yeah,
that's part of the disconnect.
Certainly, but you would assume that if you're a fan of a sport, you like I'm talking about the hardcores. Like, you would assume that those people would not care as much. But
no.
There's like that disconnect of I care, but I don't care enough to pay for it.
Yeah.
It probably just comes down to as much as a heavyweight might trip over his feet, at the same time, he's probably going to knock somebody out. And as beautiful as Lomanchenko was out there just outclassing people, he's not like flatlining everybody every fight.
He's making them quit, though.
Yeah, he is making them quit. But I guess, it kind of comes down to the simple adage. People just want to see blood. And if you're not cleaning clocks every fight, then, I guess a casual would just kind of brush you to the side, like, yeah, he's, get him out of here. He's not doing anything special. But
which just makes the fact that Deontay Wilder isn't like the biggest deal in the world all the more puzzling.
Trash, bro.
Right.
Walk away from him.
Oh,
Yeah.
but
Sports is weird. Sports is weird, bro.
I think it's because then Deontay Wilder starts talking. And once he starts talking, like, the charisma kind of, like, the fight charisma doesn't translate to the mic charisma. It's like the lyrics are great, but the person can't sing. So, because he's a great fighter, but as soon as he starts talking, like, about wanting bodies on his, like, I want a body on my record, I think people just kind of tune off to that. You know what I mean?
I feel like in today's world, there are enough people where you can make that work.
Yeah, but you got to be like a Broner level madman.
You see, they tried to sell Deontay Wilder as like the dad, and his daughter has like cerebral palsy or something. Like, you can't run those, I guess, and then do the one where I want to kill a man in the ring.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to be who you are.
Yeah. But either way, that fight was awesome. I was gonna say, I'm trying to bring up the Nunes Pennington card, but my laptop froze.
Before this started, you said, and I quote, "I just hope this thing can get through without having issues."
Oh, I told you.
Do you want me to? Well, we can talk about the main event, right? You want to just?
Yeah. I
So,
can do that. So
I'm going to assume the Annicole has a nicer opinion on this than I do, so he can start.
Amanda Nunes is officially in the Jose Champion Aldo portion of her career, where she is just going to grab onto that belt as tightly as possible, because the UFC sure as shit ain't going to promote her, and the only way she's going to get that big paycheck is if she just keeps hanging onto the belt.
I'm gonna disagree with that. They did try to promote her because they did the sweeps run where they had her on all the big news networks, and all she did, yeah, they did that, and all she did was bitch about Ronda Rousey. That's why I always say, like, she hurt herself, because as soon as she won the belt, instead of embracing the Ronda fans, she was like, "You guys were stupid for even like." Everybody knew she wasn't that good, and it's like, that's not how you're gonna get those fans. Anyways, so like, I think that's and no, they don't promote her as well, but I think it started poorly and has continued to. The patient started quick and then got worse. I can't pay for this woman's pay-per-view fights anymore. I just can't. Like, this is the second fight in a row where I felt like I didn't get. It's not her only fault. It's not her fault. But this is the second fight in a row where I was like upset that I had paid for it, because it just wasn't a good fight. And I always try to be fair to you always try to be a little fair, but after the second round, that was like torturous.
Yeah.
You know.
I think I think that was, I want to say, general consensus, even though Twitter last night proved me wrong. I shouldn't have expected anything less.
Oh no, I don't. It's not an Amanda. It's not. It is her, but it's like, I don't know. I don't know if it's the one, because if you compare it to Ngannou versus Miocic, it was a better fight. But going back to what you had said about heavyweights, nothing during Nunes Pennington was anywhere near as fun as the first round of Ngannou Miocic.
And I think it wasn't fun because I think that the first round of this fight was like, okay, we know what Pennington brings. Because I actually went back, because I kind of forgot about the Miesha Tate fight, like how it went. So I went back and I rewatched that fight the day before, and I was like, oh man, she dogged Miesha out.
Yeah.
Like she really dogged Miesha out. And like, I wasn't gonna pick her to win, but I was like, you know, she's really durable. She seems to be able to. She can push a good pace. I'm like, maybe at the least she'll make the fight competitive. Maybe she'll get finished in like third round, but we'll get some few good moments out of it. But it was just clear from jump that Nunes is just kind of on another plane than it seems like the rest of that division is. And like, it's like you said, it's almost, I can't even blame her, but it's just like, at this point, it's like we're just watching an adult beat up toddlers, and it's just, and this fight made it worse because of the whole corner situation, which was just extra salt on the wound. Like, everything after the second round of this fight, you kind of knew. It's like, if Racquel doesn't have a Hail Mary in her, this is over. Like, there's no point in us really watching this anymore. Like, it just seemed like, I don't even know if there was a game plan in this fight. Like,
I think the idea was, you're going to tire her out, let her be offensive, counter off the fence. I do know that And Nicole brought up a great point. Maybe the leg kicks, as soon as they started landing, she switched into a backup plan that wasn't very good. But
I think she was
maybe-
just straight up in survival mode.
yeah, maybe she froze
Yeah.
up first main event. Maybe Amanda Nunes is my Mighty Mouse. There are people who don't get it. They don't get him. I love watching him fight. I love watching him style on opponents who are good, but nowhere near his plane of existence. Maybe Nunes is that person for me. Because the Shevchenko fight, the second one was awful. This one, it wasn't that bad, but it was bad. And the one before that one, she was supposed to headline, and she pulled out the day of. So it's like, I don't feel like I get, if this is like a financial investment, I don't think I'm getting my money's worth back out from her as a headliner. You know what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, well, who could she fight that I'd really want to see her fight? And if these are going to be her fights, then like, it was like when people were mad at Aldo because he went through that the perfect example you made of Aldo, where he fought Lamas and he fought the Korean Zombie and, other quality contenders, but the fights were never really worth what you had invested into it. So I'm kind of stuck. Who's she going to fight next? Like Marion Renault?
Marion Renault, Caitlin Vieira.
Juliana Pena has a hell of a chance to beat her. It's kind of sad.
See, I can't get with that because I think Juliana Pena kind of a head case.
Oh, I mean stylistically.
Stylistically, but like I just can't help but feel like she's just going to give the fight away.
But you get what I'm like. I
get what you mean. I get what you mean.
She'll present the unique.
Like I
talent,
said last night, she is a damn good fighter, but the worst UFC champion. Nico Montano aside.
See, I'm kind of neutral on Nico because I honestly don't know a ton about her.
But I think we can all agree Nico Montano is holding the belt until she fights Shevchenko.
Yeah.
So
hate to say
no,
it
but I'm
like
just saying,
that,
well, it's fair. It's like she's a good fighter, but Shevchenko's probably one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
So Nunes is a good fighter. I have nothing negative. I have nothing against her, but like these pay-per-view main events, man.
I mean,
and I think part of that is, I don't want to say the UFC's fault, not the UFC, but like just the way the division has turned out over the years.
Right.
Where,
Which is
like,
partially their fault.
Which is partially their
for
fault.
not investing back into it, maybe.
Yeah, but no, I can't exclusively blame them.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like, Rocky hasn't fought in 18 months, and they still trotted her out there. And for good reason. She beat Miesha Tate. She was on a good run. She was on a good run. 4 fights in a row. But I don't get why this had to be the fight. Like I said, like honest to God, it felt like a sparring session for Nunes, where like shit just got out of hand and Penikin just kept getting hurt, like incidentally.
Yeah.
Which is weird to say because like Nunes, like 5th round, Nunes beat like Pennington is there, like her back's taken, she is just pouring like blood out from her face onto the mat.
Yeah.
So
I almost feel bad because I don't want to overshadow like Nunes'.
No, like
she
did
went
what
out
she
there
had
and
to
just
do.
put on
She did what she had to do. She did what she had to do. It just wasn't, to me, it wasn't entertaining. And if you're asking me to spend $60 on your main events, you got to give me something.
Yeah. I think for me, like, I want to say I enjoyed what I saw up until like the fight just got uncomfortable to watch. Like it was around probably like that 3rd and 4th round where it was kind of like, okay, this isn't entertaining anymore. Like clearly she doesn't really have anything for Nunes. We might want to get her out of there.
When she buckled to the knee to the body at the end of the 3rd or the 2nd round, I was like, I think we've seen enough.
Yeah, and then I guess we'll just go on into the situation.
But Nicole, would you pay to watch Nunes, Renault, Nunes, anybody sans Cyborg? Because I think Cyborg would be the exception for most people.
You see,
perfect world now. You have
Perfect.
spending money.
Holly Holm. I'd pay to see that fight just because I think it's stylistic. It's interesting, but Holm doesn't deserve it. One, and she's not in the division anymore apparently. So,
Right.
I would pay, but it would. If it's one of those cards where like this is the only marquee fight and everything else below it is kind of like
yeah, if it's like the JDR
Yeah.
JDR home card where like it's the only fight with any importance on it.
Yeah.
Hey, you got
then,
Anderson
yeah, I'm not
Silva
paying
on
for
that
that.
card. How dare you? I know. I feel bad because I feel like I'm burying Nunes, but at the same time, I like as a critic, I think she's great, but as a consumer, it's not like I'm still paying for this. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's like you can see a boring movie, and it could be a great movie, but if it's still a boring movie, you might feel like your money was wasted.
Because the way this fight turned out is not much different than the I don't know, the Ronda fight or the Miesha Tate fight in terms of like how lopsided it is. And Pennington actually fucking got some offense off when she actually threw.
Well, that's the frustrating thing was that when she threw her hand, she landed, which A, doesn't necessarily speak well for Nunes, but B, also speaks to the lack of, I guess, confidence that Pennington had.
Right.
And that was the thing I was wondering about Nunes. I was like, she seems really durable. Like, you've ate a lot of her best shots in this second round, and you're still here. So, like, maybe there's something there. Like, I felt like I was holding on this whole fight waiting for, like, all right, maybe she'll have her moment. But, I mean, clearly, as we saw in the fourth round at the end, like, she was broken. Like, literally, the nose was just all out of place. But, like, it seemed like she checked out. And this was, I'll just transition into this. This was my argument on Twitter. So for people who didn't see the fight, if you haven't watched it, it was the end of the fourth going into the fifth. Racquel's with her corner. She goes back to her cornerman, and she literally just says, like, I'm done. Like, that's it. And instead of her corner calling off the fight, they try to give her, like, this pep talk, and it's like, you know, just go back out there and, you know, leave it all on the table. They didn't give her any technical advice. Just like, you know, go lay it out on the table, you know, we got to see this through to the end. Whatever. Terrible pep talk. And she proceeds to go out to the fifth and just get slaughtered until the fight is over. And it's just like, at that point, between those, like, that third, fourth, and fifth, that's when it felt like this is just unnecessary. Like, clearly she's broken. She wants out. I think her, of all people, knows when she's not there that, you know, because I feel like in most instances it's the opposite, where, like, the fighter wants to go and the coaches are, you know, the coaches don't want them to go back out there, but, you know, fighters complain because they don't want fight stop. This is your actual fighter telling you, like, I don't want to be in here anymore. If that's not a clear indication that this fight needs to be over, I don't really know what is. Like, take your L, try to learn from this what you can, but just live to see a fight another day. Because I feel like this, and hopefully this doesn't end up being her situation. Kind of like the JDS and Kane fights, where those fights probably should have ended much earlier than they did. Maybe you save some career, some years. That fifth round could have cost her a couple years off her career right there. Like, that could have just been, I mean, we have yet to see, but she literally could have eaten some years off her career as to where maybe just in, like, the third or beginning of the fourth, you could have just pulled her out of the fight, just live the fight another day. We don't need to see you. There's no point in you being, like, mentally broken and I send you back out to war. Like, if you want out, just pull her out. Like, just protect them from themselves. And she tried to protect herself from herself, and you threw her back out in battle. And it's like, I don't. That was the part that just bugged me. That made me kind of like, the main event became kind of like, yeah, like, now I don't even want to cheer for this anymore because it's just ugly.
Dude, like, her leg was blue. So, just for record, I fell asleep after the first round of this fight because that's what I do during fights. The first thing I do when I wake up is, I fell asleep during the UFC again. So I pick up my phone, go online, try to find the fight. I watched the 5th round of this fight first. I didn't even get to the part where like she quit on like she's telling her cornerman like she doesn't want to fight anymore. And I start the video and I look at her leg and it's fucking blue, like all the way up and down blue. I'm like, how? Like, why is she still fighting? Did she not just break her one that like? I'm assuming that's the leg because I've never seen a leg look like. It looked like an old person's leg.
Varicose veins? Is that what you're trying to?
Yeah, like blue. Like
I just don't. I don't have the medical terminology. Is the best I can offer.
No, I'm like, what? Okay, I'm 90% sure she's not winning, because again, I'm went from the 1st round to the 5th round. I don't know what's happening. Like, and then all of a sudden, like, she's on her, like, Nunes is on her back, pounding her face, and then just blood everywhere. I'm like, okay, they probably shouldn't have sent her out for that round. And then, like, I go on Twitter, and like it's open from like all the tweets from the night before, and it's just people saying like, dude, she told her corner she wanted out. I'm like at a loss for words. Like, the woman broke her leg like 5 months ago, 6 months ago, because it was like December, right?
Yeah, because they wanted to do it at 219, I think.
Right. So she breaks her leg in like December. She's back in the cage like 5 months later. Like, Nunes is kicking the crap out of her.
No, it's not. It's like 20 million places.
I don't get what their mindset is. Like, just go out there and leave it on the like. Maybe they think they're saving her job. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
In that situation, you should be the one to be like, okay, you hear that she doesn't fight anymore. You go and tell the ref yourself that she's done.
Yeah,
she's done. Like, she doesn't have anything left. Like you take the hit for that. Like, you see in boxing all the time. What's Stipe's coach's name? His boxing coach. He got one of his boys got on TV. I can't remember who he was fighting, but he had to quit from on the stool. Like, like you could tell he wanted out, and the trainer could tell he wanted out. So he just
Alex Cooper.
Was it Alex Cooper?
That's what what I'm looking at now. I think so.
I think it goes back. We've talked about this so many times on this podcast. Like,
yeah, Alex Cooper.
Why is it in MMA that corners just seem so against pulling their fighter out?
Because you get people like Jack Hermanson who breaks his rib in the 2nd round and then comes back and wins in the 3rd. Like,
yeah, I mean, and for anybody who tries to use that as a crutch to why she should go back out, Jack might have broke his rib, but there was never a moment where I looked at Jack and was like, oh, he doesn't want this anymore. Like, obviously he's in excruciating pain, but he's still trying to make something happen.
Right.
Like, Racquel's not. This wasn't like one of those fights where like, oh, it's close, she might still have a way out, and like she looked like she wanted out. Jack was still out there. He was trying to make it work, and obviously he did. We'll get to that in a few, but this wasn't one of those situations. Like, Racquel wasn't trying to make anything work. She was literally doing like the JDS thing that drives me crazy when you just put your back against the cage and like hope for the best, and we all know that doesn't work out too well. So it's like I don't get what you gain by throwing her back out there. Like, I don't see what the benefit was.
And the thing is, it's women's bantamweight. Like, if she goes back, she gets another 3 wins. She gets matter of fact, she goes back, she gets another 2 wins. She's back in the title picture.
Right.
You have to know your fighter.
Right.
Has your fighter ever knocked somebody out? Has your fighter ever knocked somebody out after the 2nd round, after the 3rd round, et cetera, et cetera? You have to know her. Sometimes you think you know them because you're so confident in them that you become deluded to what they can actually do.
Right.
Having read a lot of the responses from fighters,
if you stand mad close to the wall,
something bad's going to have to happen before this changes. And you hate to say it, but that's the reality.
Yeah.
Something bad is going to happen before. It's a culture thing in MMA. This is just the way. Toughness is a marketable trait in MMA. This fighter's tough sells for certain people. Oh, he could take so much punishment. So like Chris Lieben.
It sells for the boss.
Right.
Dana's out
Loves
here
scrappers.
signing. Yeah, he loves scrappers. That's how Brandon Davis has a job, or whatever his name is.
Loves scrappers,
True.
loves, toughness is a trait. It's a trait that people value in MMA, perhaps maybe too much than they should value.
Yeah, not to throw him under the bus, but that's kind of the route like Justin Gaethje's at right
Yeah,
now.
like,
Where it's like,
but you know what? I think Trevor Whitman would have pulled Gaethje. If Justin, because there's a clip of Nate Marquardt comes to Trevor Whitman and says, "I don't have it," and Whitman stops the fight.
yeah. I was gonna say now. I saw that on Twitter
Right.
too. Like,
It's a matter of. But I see a lot of fighters who are like, "Look, when you're in your corner in tough times, like what's his name? The guy who's on Tough, Bob Ross, the Bob Ross Tough guy."
Right.
He said, like, when you're in that moment, do you want the people who are going to be like, yeah, you're right, I don't have it, we're going to stop it? Or do you want the people who think you're a world champion already? Like, most fighters probably prefer the latter. So until that changes and until, like, we can get more honesty between corner and fighter, and before we can have corners that are honest about what a fighter can truly do, like, we're gonna be here. Because remember the Eduardo Dantas fight with I can't remember who he fought for the belt. Where it was over after the second round, and they just sent him out again and again and again and again. And we got all this Twitter outcry and social media outcry about having to change that. Like, it doesn't change. It'll never change until something happens that forces the change. And referees need to be more proactive in saving fighters as well.
Oh, was it Galvao?
There we go. And look at 2 weeks ago. Like, this is the problem. 2 weeks ago, Edson Barbosa had one moment in that fight against Kevin Lee. Just one moment. But because he had that one moment, he was allowed to go back out for the fourth and the fifth round, because it's like, well, he did it once, he can do it again. Like, anything can happen. But in the reality of things, how rare is it that you see the guy pull off the last minute comeback after getting crushed for 5 rounds? Because 15 minutes is 15 minutes, but 25 minutes is just a different thing.
and I guess for me, just to close out before we go to the next fight, I guess when I look at these situations, I read body language a lot. Your body doesn't lie. You can look at people and tell, like, even when they're lying to you, when somebody looks at you like you still got it in you, and they tell you, yeah, but you can look at him like he doesn't. You got to know how to read stuff like that. And to me, it just looked clear that she didn't want any parts of this.
She could not walk to her stool at the end of the third round, and they sent her back out twice.
And it's no shame either, and that's another thing. Not to keep dragging this out, but like, there's no shame in you going, listen, man, that I tried, but this might have been a bit more than I can chew. Let me just call this off now, and I got to go back and regroup, and we'll figure this out next time. Like, there's no shame in that. You need to protect yourself from yourself to live, to be able to do this again some other time.
I mean, go ahead.
I'm just, it's crazy that this isn't like a unified thing, because who understands, I don't know, longevity and like, there's actually like risks to this shit better than like 99% of MMA traders, apparently. The Diaz brothers.
Right, of all people.
Of all people who think long term, and they're like, yeah, this shit's not worth it.
Like, literally threw the towel in after Nate caught that head kick.
Yeah, I mean, and we say that there's no shame, and there is no shame, but public perception is a big deal. Victor Ortiz will never, ever, ever live down the fact that he quit on his stool against Marcos Maidana in a fight where he was dropped like 3 times. So it's like, we believe that fighters are warriors, but like, we will refuse to allow them the opportunity to accept the fact that they want to fight. They don't want to fight. So
like I said on Twitter, we think this is a Hollywood movie, but this is
these are not action figures.
Yeah, these are real people, and everybody has a breaking point, and she literally hit her breaking point.
It's like tapping to strikes. It's like, oh, you can't tap to strikes. Like, why not?
Right. I'll be the first to tell y'all, if I ever go to an MMA gym and I get mounted, I'm probably tapping immediately. Just
There's
so
nothing
if y'all ever see any
like
footage of me in the future.
There's nothing wrong with
getting
that.
Out of there.
No, there's
Getting
like
out of there.
no, but I'm saying like there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with tapping the strike. There's nothing wrong with like tapping out. Like I'd rather go to sleep than tap out. Like why?
Yeah, forget that. Trying to live.
It's like I'd rather go. Let me just go out. It's like really, dude.
Yeah,
I gotta
just
reload.
live the fight another day.
Oh, if I'm in a submission, if I'm in an arm bar, I'd rather have my arm broken than tap out. Like, come on, man.
Right, you have fun with that broken arm, doing broken arm stuff.
Corners and referees need to. If you have a broken arm, you can't compete in that sport we were talking about. But
No boy.
but corners and officials, refs need to be a little quicker on the draw.
Yeah, but to wrap it up, great performance from Nunes nonetheless. She went out there, she did what she had to do. She's a killer. But I hope Racquel is like recovering well, man, because that was hard to watch. I hope she comes back strong. Hopefully, learn what you can from this fight, and take it out on the next.
Hopefully, we don't have to wait 20 months to see her fight again.
Consider finding a new gym as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might want to start having.
I mean, you're in Colorado. Is Dwayne Ludwig still out there?
Trevor Whitman.
Trevor Whitman. Either one.
Yeah.
Like I don't know anything about altitude MMA, but
Yeah, go where your best interest is kept in mind. But this co-main event, I had some feels during this fight. I was emotionally invested in this. This was really hard for me to watch because I really enjoy watching both of these guys fight. It's like watching your two best friends scrap it out. You don't really know who you're supposed to be rooting for, even though I was kind of rooting for Jacare. But co-main event, Kelvin Gastelum, Jacare Souza. Like I stated, I really enjoy watching both of these guys fight. But I think I kind of just rooted for Jacare by default because I've been a fan for a longer amount of time. So Jacare just kind of won on that front. I guess before I even get to the fight, are we unanimous on who we thought won? Do we think they got it right, or are we disagreeing?
What do you think, AC?
I think they got it right. But if you got Jacare winning, I'm not. Well, no, I had Gastelum winning, but it was close. It was competitive, I should say.
Yeah. When I rewatched it, I wanted to be biased and say Jacare won, but I think they got it right. I had it 1-1 going into the third. I think Jacare could have won the third, but like his output just wasn't there. I think Gastelum just did just enough, and he got by on the skin of his teeth. But if somebody, like you said, if somebody said Jacare won, I wouldn't be mad. But yeah, sadly, I think they got it right.
Same. I had Gastelum, and if you had Jacare because Gastelum gave the fight away almost, then I can understand.
Yeah.
But
Gastelum is very much like the same dude he was when he fought Rick Story. Like years ago now, 5 years ago. When was that fight?
2013, 14.
Damn. Yeah, he's still that dude. And that's not good when you're fighting somebody who's probably should be fighting at like 205.
He's just like, I don't know. First off, this is an awesome fight, but Gastelum is he just checks out sometimes. Like, there were moments where he was in front of Jacare in the pocket, which he probably shouldn't have been to begin with, but he was in there, and he would just stare at him, and then, like, after Jacare hit him twice, he would, like, wake up and start throwing back. So, and it wasn't even like he was countering, it was like he was just, sometimes he zones out. Like, he zoned out against Neil Magny, which cost him the fight. He got almost KO'd by Rick Story because he was playing around. He's the weirdest, best fighter in MMA. and it's worth asking, like, who could tap the potential of this guy? Like, because if Rafa Cordero can't get you to be the best you can be, then questions have to be asked.
Yeah, it has to be, because Cordero has turned everybody who seems to go to Cordero just kicks it to another notch.
Well, I think Cordero's good at fantastic at turning fighters into fighters like Kelvin Gastelum.
Right.
Except they pressure a little better. my concern with Gastelum isn't that he's not becoming the best like at this style of fighting, as he's fighting this style of fighting, probably up a division where he should be fighting, and it works because, Kennedy, Jacare, they're kind of old, and in Kennedy's case, he's really one dimensional.
Bisping.
Bisping, kind of old and kind of slow.
Bring that up.
And had recently been, kind of shit kicked out of him. Like, I don't think that works against Yoel Romero and Robert Whitaker. Like, look at Whitaker. Whitaker was very much one of like a similar, in the pocket, going in the pocket. We're going to exchange mid range, in close type of dude when he was at welterweight. But like once he went up to 145, he changed completely. Like, fought at longer range, use his feet more to get out in and out of the situations. Like, Gastelum was out here acting like he's the biggest dude here.
Brought the takedowns back into his game.
Yeah.
I will say this though, and I have to I feel like I have to stress this. At 185, it's become a pattern. I figured 185 out. You call it the tough dudes division. I call it the takedown division. Whoever gets the first or the last takedown is going to win the fight. Because these guys at 185 are stiff-ish, relatively speaking. Not the best athletes, relatively speaking. And just very immobile when they get to the ground. So if you get the first takedown or the last takedown, you're probably going to win at something. You're probably going to win the fight.
I mean, Jacare came close.
Yeah,
that's
what I'm saying. But like, that's what makes...
he got the single leg. He almost locked in armbar.
That's what makes guys like Gastelum and Robert Whitaker so interesting at this division, because they can get up. Weidman was probably 230-ish against Gastelum, and Gastelum was able to get up from Chris Weidman until he got subbed. Here, he was able to survive Jacare and the mount, and eventually basically tired him out going for an armbar. Those guys, like Whitaker got taken down by Romero and was able to get back up on a bad leg. So these guys who are really great athletes, the track to the division is a lot easier because they're great athletes. They can get up when they're taken down. So, like, I want Gastelum to be successful because I think he has the tools to be really, really, really good here. But him and Mackenzie Dern on the same card was interesting because it's like they're both so talented, but the focus always seems to not be there.
Yeah.
Like, he had Jacare, in my opinion, dead to rights in the third round, and it was like he just wanted to have a swanging and banging.
Dude, Jacare hit him with everything he threw.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like to Jacare's credit, I didn't expect him to push this kind of pace.
And he was...
even when he was gassed, he was moving forward. And he was still, like, he was uncorking bombs. Like, he was trying to end it. And I didn't think that fight would go that way. Like, I did not expect him to push this kind of pace.
Gastelum's chin is unreal. Dudes got hit by Tyron Woodley, Chris Weidman. I think Michael Bisping might have touched him once in their fight. And now Jacare. And Rick Story is the only guy who's ever had him in serious trouble.
Yeah, he eats him.
Gastelum was playing around. He's throwing these wacky looping combinations. He drops his hand and gets popped over the top. And then he gets yelled at in his corner. And then he goes out in the third round and does the same fucking things he was doing in the first 2 rounds. He's so talented, but like never like, come on, dude, wake up. We're talking about a guy who dropped the round to Nico Musoke.
I'll be the optimist one, because I wasn't the best performance, like you said. There are things that had Gastelum not had the kind of chin that he has, some of these moments in this fight could have went the other way really quick. But I think I'm just still like amazed that he's still hanging with these dudes who are sizably bigger than him, and especially in this fight, like getting out of a mount from Jacare is a pretty, that's an accomplishment. You live to tell about that. Most dudes, you probably would have been out.
No, I mean, like I'm on this bandwagon. We got to keep stopping because of engine troubles, but I'm on it.
Yeah, yeah. Like he does little things that it's like, if you were fighting like for the belt, this probably would have cost you the fight. But like somehow I still go back to the Weidman fight, even though he lost. He almost slept Chris Weidman. Like we were 30 seconds away if rounds were 30 seconds longer. He probably could have been in a title fight already. Like
And he does it throwing no leg kicks, not using his really, really, really great wrestling.
He barely jabs.
Right.
He just throws one combination.
But it works.
I'm not disagreeing. I love Kelvin Gastelum. I just think he could be so much better.
Yeah, he definitely could. Like he has more tools I think than what he really uses. Like he just it seems like almost he gets into this comfort zone of I'm just gonna throw. And I mean, to his credit, he can put most dudes out, but at some point it's like where's the backup if this doesn't happen to work?
I mean, the backup is just to
And
throw harder.
Right. Because in this fight, like, literally, if Jacare just would have had a bit more in the tank, I mean, and to paint a picture, like, this was just a really good just back and forth fight between both of them. But I think it just came down to, like I said, Jacare probably burned himself out, putting his heart and soul into that armbar, ends up not getting it, and then he got dropped in the second. And I think that just kind of took some extra life out of him. And Gastelum just had a bit more in the tank. But, yeah, if Jacare would just had a little bit more, he probably could have took this fight. But Gastelum I want to say, like, what he does is simple, but it's crazy effective somehow. And like I said, it will probably cost him if he gets in a title fight, if he fights like this, unless he can just, maybe he cracks you with one early and just get you out of there. But, yeah, I think if he gets in a title fight and it goes to the deep rounds, if he has any of those kind of lapses or moments where he gets too gun crazy, he might, things might go the opposite way. It might not work out in your favor. But wild fight, man. Really entertaining fight. I wanted Jacare to get the W. He was so close. But
I mean, the best part of the fight was actually the first round when Jacare has his foot and Gastelum is hitting him quite possibly as hard as he's ever hit another human being.
Yeah, I was actually concerned for Jacare for a second. Like, what if he gets wobbled?
He's hitting him really hard. And so what do you do with Jacare though? Like, what would Machida?
Yeah,
I like that fight. I'd watch that.
that's a good fight, I guess, if they'll do it.
I think they seem to be in kind of similar spots where, like, both of them are still really, really good. I just don't know how much they have left in the tank, but they still have enough to where if you square them up with each other, you'll get a good fight out of it.
And I don't know what you do with Gastelum either, because he fought Weidman and lost to him, but it was competitive, but it's still a loss, and Weidman's
gone.
In ether. Yeah, he's in space having another surgery, so it's like
Gastelum Branch.
Oh man, I think Anna Cole and I would be at war on that one.
I mean, we're Dave Branch is the greatest fighter of all time. So, yeah.
I mean, he's a money fight.
He is the most money fight. But
yeah, Gastelum's in that weird spot. But I have this strange feeling that, like, I feel like, and maybe it's just me, it's a reach. I feel like Gastelum winning a title isn't far-fetched.
No,
he literally could be fighting the winner of Whittaker Romero next,
and he'd have a good chance
at beating him.
Yeah, I mean, Whittaker Gastelum might be one of those fights that, like, it would be my Khabib Tony Ferguson in terms of just a fight I have to see. Romero, Gastelum starts too slow to like. I don't know, man. Gastelum will leave his chin out there for a Romero right hand. He will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like he'll catch him with a good one. He'll get too gun crazy, and then he'll get caught with something, and then lights are out. But
you Romero capoeira kick maybe?
Yeah, well, no, one of them flying knees that sends people to other planets. God, Chris Weidman, that was. Ooh.
I'm thinking about the Racquel uppercut of Doom.
Oh yeah.
The little take that on your way shot.
Oh man. I saw a meme of that. The one where when like Yoel is like damn near giving him a kiss after the KO, and it's like when you're mad at your girlfriend and you're trying to apologize, but she doesn't want to hear you. Oh man, Romero, that guy, he's. Oof. I would duck him if I was in the UFC. I would shamelessly duck him. I don't want any parts of that. But Gastelum Souza, awesome fight, really close fight, but you know it is what it is. If you're a Jacare fan, your feelings will probably hurt. But I mean, still a great fight from both gentlemen. So definitely looking forward to whatever they happen to do next. This next fight, which got a lot of people talking. A lot of people were definitely in their feelings about this fight too. I was kind of indifferent one way or the other. Mackenzie Dern, Amanda Bobby Cooper. Mackenzie Dern missed weight by 7 pounds. I'm going to go on record and say her 7 pounds had nothing to do with how this fight turned out, in my opinion. I think whether that right hand lands at whatever she weighed in compared to if she made the weight she was supposed to be, I think the result would have been the same. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, Mackenzie, I feel like the things that are good about Mackenzie are also things in her fights, but when it works, it works. And I say that in terms of, like, I think she's just willing to take one to give one. Because I think there was a point, like, Amanda Bobby Cooper hit her with a pretty nice flurry at one point. But Mackenzie she just storms back. And I feel like it's kind of reckless sometimes. But I guess if you can hit that hard, whatever. it works. She cracks Cooper with a right, drops her. I think she mounted her for like a brief second. Cooper gave up her back. And if you give up your back to Dern, you already know how that's going to go. So she got choked out. And yeah, that was over in like 2 minutes. I think Cooper had things going for her. Like, she didn't have a bad performance. But she got caught, and you know, that was it. And I feel like everybody hated Dern after this fight. Like I said, I'm kind of indifferent one way or the other. I just wanted to be entertained, and I got what I came for.
Saying that she didn't have to be in the gym every day probably didn't help, because that's something she said in terms of like. No. But people hated Dern for like a while. Like,
yeah.
Either because of her accent or because of any type of, or because they just hate anybody who gets hype, or because they hate women, whatever. There's a million different reasons MMA fans.
Lordy.
Lord. I mean, am I wrong though?
I mean, maybe not in this case,
but Dern's not going to take this seriously until she loses, and she's probably not going to lose until she gets like a real challenge, because her athletically and like mentality wise, she's built for fighting. Maybe she's not built for the lifestyle, but like most jiu-jitsu cats don't come into MMA just throwing heat for 15 minutes like she does. You know, like the last one I could think about who did that is one Davey Ramos, but the other one was like Jacare. Like, just super aggressive, can hit hella hard, above average, maybe even really good athlete, like with a background and something like that. Like, she's going to keep winning fights until she hits somebody who's going to be like, who's actually good, and that's not Amanda Cooper.
I don't want to say that I get why people don't like Mackenzie Dern, because I kind of don't, but I'm also I'm a little bit more aware of some of her shortcomings. Missing weight was obviously a problem, but she made some comments in the post, like in her presser, that maybe opened a few eyes, at least my eyes, in terms of like maybe not being emotionally mature enough for this kind of like high level profile UFC related responsibilities. Like, she was like, yeah, I missed weight, but it's like not like I did coke or we're doing steroids or anything like that. Which, true, but you probably don't want to say that because people don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
And then she made a comment like, if she missed weight in the States, she would have probably felt more pressure, but she knows how Brazilians support their own. And it's like, you were born in Arizona, so I get what you're saying, but again, it's like one of those things where you're making comments that if people don't like you, you're just gonna make them like you less. And if you're on the fence, it can come off as kind of arrogant a little bit. She comes off a little aloof. But as an athlete, yeah, we'll see what the UFC does with her next. If they have faith in her, if they're mad at her, they're going to give her somebody who's really, really, really tough, like a Carla Esparza type. But if they're going to be patient with her and hope she gets through this because she can be a big deal, she might get another Amanda Bobby Cooper type. So we'll see.
I think she's gonna be one of those fighters. She's gonna have that humbling experience. Because like I said, that she's definitely a really good athlete. Like she's definitely built for this. But yeah, she does kind of seem like it's just that naive youth that I think she's riding a wave right now, and she's gonna have, I don't know who it'll be, but somebody's gonna crash the wave eventually.
And
and I think
good.
Yeah, and after that moment happens, I think we'll find out what we really have. Like we'll figure out if she's really taking this seriously or if she's just here to like enjoy the show. So like I said, I feel like sometimes she's kind of reckless, but like her talent can kind of allow that to a certain point, but that'll eventually stop when you start running into people who are on that elite level. So I think she'll, maybe not her next fight, but I'm going to predict within like her next 2 to 3 fights, she's going to have one of those humbling experiences. It might even be a win, but she might get caught by somebody, or she'll have a few moments where it's not looking really good, and it'll bring her back down to earth. Or we'll find out if it brings her back down to earth. But,
I mean, what do you do with a Ronda-level talent who could become a Ronda-level star who doesn't have the Ronda-level passion? Gotta hope.
Yeah, that's you hope.
Yeah,
and pray
like I
and...
said, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. She's a way more talented version of Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
You hope she. Yeah, it's hard. I feel like it's that youth. Like
she's only 25, and
taking...
Anti-Cole pointed out she's been in the sport like a year, 2 years. So
2 years in July.
Yeah, so it's like it's not a surprise she's a little.
I said she's riding high.
You said naive, and I think that's a really good word for it.
Yeah, but one head kick can change all of that. I think if she catches that one humbling performance, she'll realize what's really going on. But
I mean, it depends on what they give her. Like if they give her a Carla Esparza, then you know that they're upset.
Yeah. don't let them John Fitch you, Darren.
Maybe they'll give her John Fitch.
Okay, that time you were definitely booking a man who was. I didn't mishear that at all.
Don't make them send the
I mean,
hit
it's not like John Fitch will hit her. He's
That's
John
a good
Fitch.
point. That's rude. That's rude in offense. John Fitch tries
to
hard
be honest,
as he can.
I can
John
see
Fitch
her.
tries. Damn it.
If they give her like Andrade, and Andrade would be my.
If they give you Andrade, they just don't like you anymore.
Oh my god, that'd be
Yeah,
neat.
if they give you Andrade, then clearly somebody in that office is trying to. Yeah, that's a message. That's a message.
So.
But I mean,
so for the next fight, we actually have 2 questions. And neither one's from Stokes. So.
See, my computer froze, so I'm gonna let y'all handle the questions because I can't.
What a poor burial job on Stokes right there, by the way.
It's not a burial job. It's just not Stokes. Like.
I have a question from someone who's not Stokes.
Well, like most of the time when we ask people for questions, the people who send in questions are Stokes.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm
We
just
love
going to
Stokes,
point
by
out,
the way.
had Stokes been on here, he could have asked the question directly, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just
But,
saying.
but
Stokes is doing important work right
he
now.
is America's breadbasket.
Yeah, he briefed us on his situation, and I support his situation because I love strawberries. So I need people like him. I'm depending on people like him.
So, next question from Manta23 on Tumblr.
Hey,
So, who do you think Lineker fights next? Loser of Moraes Rivera, Cruz, or maybe a Sunsao? And then we have another one after that. So,
I like the Sunsao fight. I like that. Does he have a fight line?
yeah, Rob Font.
oh right, yeah.
Font in July.
And I think the reason I picked that more, nothing against Lineker. I feel like a Sunsao just like people just overlook him. Like he just kind of gets, he's like the stepchild of the division. Like he's really good, but we just kind of cast him to the side.
I mean,
so I
he
think
beat Moraes.
Right.
The sun sounds like when you go to the bar and you see like there are a bunch of 10s and then there's the 7 that's just kind of in the corner and you're like, I gotta strike out with everyone else first. You know what you got there. You're just like, who knows? Maybe I can swing for the fences.
Yeah, I like the Sunsao fight though. I think that's a good matchup. I mean, I'm down for any Lineker fight at any moment, no matter who it is. But I think for like ranking wise, that fight to me makes sense. And if Lineker gets by Sunsao, I don't see why he's not lined up for a title shot after.
Because
So I think both of them have a lot to gain from that.
I think the only reason they wouldn't put him in a title shot is because TJ would still have the belt. Last time they fought, he broke his jaw.
No.
TJ would still have the belt. Stokes isn't even here, and you're just, ugh.
I mean, I would have said it twice as loud if Stokes was here.
Oh my god.
And he knows that about me.
That's abusive.
You gotta aim in at the nerves.
Well, he's doing the Lord's work, and you're harassing him.
He's not even listening right now.
Probably not, but he will. No, it's like if you're Spanish, if somebody talks about you, your ears ring. So this poor dude's ears are just going bananas right now.
He's like, they're definitely recording right now, and they're talking about TJ Dillashaw.
It comes up at least once a cast. I like the Cruz fight. I think that I need to see Lineker fight somebody who can theoretically move like Cruz, and Cruz is ridiculously strong, surprisingly strong for a 135er. I would probably have to be Cruz. I think the thing that holds Lineker back from getting a title shot is that whenever he headlines events, they don't do very well. Like, it's odd. You'd think Lineker would be the small guy buster, but he's like his events do poor. So I just don't think that they see a star in him.
Yeah.
Which is why guys like Garbrandt and whatever would get repeat opportunities.
I felt bad for Kelleher in this fight because like he wanted this fight really bad and he got it, and then I felt like there was no way out for him. Like, I mean, he staggered Lineker, I think, in the first. He caught him with like a left that kind of got his attention. But after that, man, Lineker just trucked through, just power shot after power shot. I mean, props to Kelleher. We talk about having chins and being able to survive. The fact that he even made it to the third round with the amount of punishment he took is pretty wild. Those body shots, I love that Lineker like mixes it up. Like, try to take your head off, and then he'll go for a body shot and crumble that. He just Kelleher was trying to mount an offense, and he got off a few good shots, but Lineker gonna Lineker, and the KO was just ugh. I'm glad he didn't follow up with ground and pound after he like lifted Kelleher out of orbit. That was one of those KOs where like I cheered, but like I felt bad. I was like, oh man, like that looked painful. Like, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. This was a Lineker fight. That's that's all I can say. Like this was the most Lineker fight you'll ever see.
Sprinting full bore into power shots against the just running full speed ahead.
Oh man.
Like,
Oh.
you say something?
Oh, no, you go.
Lineker, fuck. Yeah, like you said, this is typical Lineker, except like there's always a little something extra because Lineker KOs come like after he's dished out so much abuse. Because like we give him credit as like this big puncher, but like, and he is, but like his knockout punches tend to come after he's already beaten on you for a significant amount of time. Like, who was it? Was Rivera, Francisco?
Yeah.
Well, like that was a 1-round fight, but like it wasn't just like, oh, Lineker caught him out on his feet. It's that no, Lineker rocked him like 3 or 4 times before that.
It was 5 rounds worth of damage in 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So like that, there's always that little bit of like extra sympathy for like whoever he's fighting, because not only did he eat the knockout punch, he ate every punch before that. Like Lineker kind of reminds me a little bit of Maidana.
Marcos Maidana?
Yes.
I could see that.
Like if he ever developed like the jab to the body, like he'd be like a dead ringer. But like just that, I don't know. Like stylistically, how most of these guys in this division beat him. Like
you got to be able to take him down.
Take him
repeatedly.
down. You have to
take him down, or like you said with the Cruz matchup, you need some movement. Like you can't sit in front of this guy.
Like the thing that TJ was able to do so brilliantly was like he showed Lineker like what his punches were, got Lineker to bite on some counters, and then just went underneath him.
Right.
And like there are a lot of really good guys at bantamweight. I don't know how many have their games layered like that, like TJ does.
Or you'd have to have Dotson's game plan and movement with more output.
Right.
But here's the problem, like with Lineker, is like, not to cut you off, but like you can have the movement and you can up the output. But if you up the output, you put yourself into striking range with him, where chances are he's going to win every exchange. He just hits you so much harder. So
he
it's
just
like
throws so much.
Yeah, and he's got to be like I use the term miserable for Tony Ferguson, like those miserable fights where it's like you're not having any fun, but he is.
Yeah.
Lineker is always smiling at you and laughing at you, and you hit him, and he's just like, oh, it's not too bad. Like he's just a miserable experience. I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's not a phone call I'm looking forward to getting.
Because you get like a fight of Fedor, who's just like this robotic, stoic, emotionless man, and then you got this guy who you're hitting as hard as you can. He's laughing at you, and then he's laughing while he hits you because he enjoys it so much. Like that's a miserable fighting experience. I would never want a piece of that.
Yeah, and then he finishes you like this, like he sends you out of orbit, and
Lord,
yeah, you have to like rethink your whole life now. Like, do I really want to do this for a living?
Kelleher tried, man. Like he really tried. He did, credit, man. But this is.
He does. I like Kelleher. Like he's one of those guys that I know regardless when to lose, he's gonna bring it. But Lineker is just he's the irremovable object. Like you can't meet him in the middle and win. That's just it's never gonna work.
You need to keep him on his back long enough for him to think that that's gonna be a repeated thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Anti-Cool, you would know this. Is Jose Maria Tomei still the only guy to drop John Lineker?
In the UFC, I believe so.
Yeah, the UFC.
Yeah, I think so.
With a knee.
Was it a knee or was it the spinning back fist?
I think Lineker shot into a knee, or I can't remember. I'm gonna have to look it up. I think he's the only guy, right, to this point.
Yeah.
Absurd.
Man's an animal.
Wait, did Rivera drop him?
I don't remember if he dropped him or wobbled him.
I think he like wobbled him and like he dropped to a knee, got immediately up and kept punching.
It's very Lineker-esque, I would suppose.
Right. that sounds just like a Lineker fight.
Like a how dare you?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that is a scary guy, man. He's another one
And
of
I'm
those dudes, like, he's just built for this.
And I'm glad we got the low leg kick back into Lineker's game.
Right.
Very, very underrated tactic.
I guess we kind of went over this when we talked about like what type of dude it would take to beat Lineker. But Brad Mason from Tumblr asked us, what sort of tools does John Lineker need to beat the guys in the top 5? Who among them is he most likely to beat?
Cody.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Cody would be willing to play the firefight game.
Sorry,
and we all know.
Sorry.
I felt really bad saying that. Sorry,
Yeah,
I didn't want to be the first one to say it just because I feel like I want anybody to think I was picking on Stokes, but Cody's like a dude who.
Yeah, Cody's the guy. But you know what? I gotta give Cody credit though, because even though I feel like he would still play that game, at the same time, what he showed me in the Cruz fight, he can deviate from that, but I just don't know if he will. Like, I don't know if I see that Cody again.
Right.
I mean, he showed it in spurts against Dillashaw before Dillashaw made adjustments. So like, I don't know. Like, I think that they would trade, and anybody who engages in the pocket with Lineker is gonna have a rough day.
How do you think a Lineker Marias fight goes?
I think Moraes can be. You know what? More than.
Because I think I could see Moraes winning. I could see Moraes.
Yeah.
I would give Rivera the best chance, actually, because I can see Rivera wrestling him.
I think basically, in order to beat Lineker, you can't be one dimensional.
Right.
Like, there needs to be other facets of your game other than I hit hard.
And you have to accept mortality, because at some point you're gonna have to get into his range, even if it's to take him down. You're gonna have to stand in front of him, and because Dotson at some point, even Dotson had to hold his ground and throw punches and combinations. So, and you got to be fast. If you're fast for a bantamweight, you're not going to be fast enough. Like, you have to be blessed with speed and footwork and timing.
Yeah, you have to get out there before your head gets knocked in the
right, and even then it might not be enough. Because Johnson's the fastest. John Dodson might be the fastest dude in MMA. It hits like a truck, and it still wasn't enough.
So basically, we're saying there might not be a chance to beat Lineker. You just got to pray and hope for the best. It might not work.
Maybe this is the time his chin cracks.
I mean, they said he had like 31 wins, and he's not even like early. He's like in his early 30s. No, he's 27. Like, that's a lot of...
Jesus Christ.
That's a lot of fights in a short amount of time, so... And a lot of bad weight cuts, too, so maybe that's the key. Hope God takes his ability before.
Catch him on a bad weight cut. Hope he tires out in, like, the second round. But, yeah, man, that guy's a killer. But shout out to Kelleher, man. He did the best you could hope your fighter could do, but, it's Lineker, so, it's... What's gonna happen is just gonna happen. This next fight, oh god, Lyoto Machida Vitor Belfort. I didn't think this fight was gonna end this way, but I kind of figured when this fight got announced that two guys who were getting up there in age, but I figured Machida. He showed me from the Andrews fight. He still has. There's still something left in the tank. I'm not saying he's about to win a title or anything, but there's still something there. He can still catch you with one, and he did Machida stuff in this fight, and it worked to a T. I can't even call this a finishing sequence because it wasn't even like it was a combo. but it was just like the last 4 to 5 seconds before he threw the kick was just funny / mesmerizing / because he was doing just a lot of these weird movements, and like you could feel it, like something's about to come. It almost looked like, cause like he had his hands up in this weird way, and it was almost like he was hypnotizing him and like lulling him to sleep. Like, I'm just gonna wave my hands out for a little bit, and you're just gonna look over here, and you're not gonna pay attention to my leg twitching because I'm about to take your head off. And then it was almost like Vitor just kind of sat and waited, and a foot was just in his face a second later, and that was it. And it was, but yeah, I mean, Vitor, I feel like at this point, and I mean he's retired, quote unquote, but I feel like at this point in Vitor's career, he's just that guy. Like, he can give you these little spurts of violence. He might bum rush you once, like he did Machida in the first. But like outside of a few bum rushes, I don't know, I don't know like what else he really has left in him. Like, there doesn't seem to be much of a game plan. Machida got off a lot of body kicks in that first round, and Vitor he would try to bum rush, and if the bum rush doesn't work, they just reset, and we just do this all over again, and then you end up with a foot to the face. The dragon lives on. I don't know what else to really say about this fight. Other than, Machida gonna Machida. And if you sit in front of his face and you just, get hypnotized by his random movements, 2 seconds later, something bad might happen. And you'll be looking at a ceiling. And the lights are above you and you don't know what happened. But great KO, though. Just very Anderson Silva-esque. This was basically part 2 of that.
It's literally the exact same. Like, I posted the picture and I was looking through it. It's the exact same thing.
You guys ever play video games with like siblings?
Mm-hmm.
And you ever leave your remote down for a second to like answer a text? Maybe you go to get a drink. Maybe you want to eat something real quick, and you come back and like they've scored.
You're right.
It was like Vitor left the remote down and he just stopped doing anything. And Lyoto was like, "Well, if you're not going to do anything, then he flashed it and he flashed it and he flashed it, and then he just threw it because what else can you do? Like, you're giving it to me. Like, I don't know, man. The weird thing was Vitor had some moments in the first round too, primarily with those bum rush blitzes where, because Lyoto will drift, and he drifted into the fence a few times, and Vitor was able to time him pretty well. But that second round, it was like Vitor was like, another comparison is like if a dude in a movie gets shot with like 12 arrows and he's on his knees and he's just like, just kill me already. It was like Vitor was just waiting to be finished, and then he got finished, and off to Ryzen he goes.
Yeah, he's not retired. He'll be
I can't
back.
wait for TRT Tour to return.
Oh, man.
Things are different now. They probably got something new.
I mean, like 6 months from now, he's going to be debuting at Ryzen at like New Year's Eve, and he's just going to have like a 6-pack. like the veins are just going to be popping out of his shoulders.
Goodness. Poor Vitor.
Oh, man.
But like, do you guys think that like Lyoto Machida, when he got the fight, like he just sat down with Anderson Silva, and Anderson's like, yeah, no, if you just like if you move around him a little bit, like he'll just stand there and take it.
Vitor is confused. He hurt himself in confusion.
Like,
So I told you, man, it was those magical hand movements. He got caught in limbo.
I'm just saying, Lyoto is one of the best kickers, like, even at his age, he's probably one of the best kickers in, definitely at middleweight, but he's probably respectable if you go through every division. Of all the things to not be paying attention to, like, of all the times to fall asleep at the wheel.
Right.
Vitor only has so much energy. He can't.
So you got tired?
Yeah. He probably gets tired, wake up out of bed in the morning. He's been fighting for like 20 years.
Good point.
So I said, man, after that blitz in the first round, that might have been it.
But still,
He threw like
was still
one
stationed.
punch in the second round. It was like a looping body shot.
I just couldn't. It was like he stood there and was waiting to get finished.
It really was.
Asking.
You know what, though? even though we all figure he's not officially retired, I'll at least give him credit because the speech I didn't want to hear after this fight was, I'm going to go back to my coaches and we're just going to figure out what's next.
It was a very nice.
It
was a very nice speech.
Yeah, like I'm hoping he's retired, but we all know, I feel like MMA's like rap. Nobody ever really retires. The right amount of money, the right situation.
Dude, Jay-Z retired 15 years ago. I don't know what you're talking about.
Would you guys have guessed that Anderson Silva would fail more drug tests than Vitor Belfort in the UFC?
I'm gonna say yes, just because I always expect MMA to just like
disappoint.
Not disappoint me, but just surprise me with its depravity.
I see. So I was thinking about this earlier, and I'm gonna pretend it was a question mailed to me because I don't want to sound like I'm just asking it. But is he a Hall of Famer?
Vitor?
Yeah, can you put him in the Hall of Fame?
I mean, yeah, you can put anybody in the Hall of Fame.
But I'm saying, in theory, like, could you put a guy who failed it? Well, I mean, Stephan Bonner, but that's different. Like, Stephan Bonner is a different case. Could you put a guy who failed the drug test like that in the Hall of Fame?
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
Because you could have put in Anderson or John Jones then.
Yeah, I was gonna say by situational
sex pills.
I mean, they were both sex pills according to them. Like, or what is blue vial of like testosterone or whatever for Silva?
The blue Viagra from Thailand.
Yeah.
But he failed again. Yeah, like John Jones said. Okay, never mind. Go on.
I have to put Vitor in because I want to put John Jones in. So, via logic and wanting things to match up, I have to put Vitor in because John Jones.
I think I would put him in, but I like his history. I would be pretty honest about what his legacy in MMA is.
I mean, I feel like he's one of those dudes that like it's like the steroid era in baseball. Yeah. Where like we all knew what was going on, but it was entertaining, so we just accepted.
Exactly.
It. Like, there's no way you're a Vitor fan and you didn't know that this man was just,
he's
shredded to the gills because he was
at
taking
something years old.
Right. Like, we all knew what we were getting into. Yeah. We knew what we signed up
and
for.
I think nobody sums up MMA's weirdness like Vitor Belfort. He oopsed into a title win over Randy Couture. Left the UFC, had like some of the weirdest fights ever in Pride. Came back stateside, fought Rich Franklin at Franklin weight. Lost to Anderson Silva in the most humiliating manner possible. Has a UFC calendar, like a catalog from 5 years of just either getting finished in hilarious fashion or finishing people in hilarious fashion. He failed the drug test, or had whatever the drug issue was, and basically sweet talked the commission into like a considering how hard they throw the book at some people, he got off pretty light. And then was like Brazilian main eventer who lost to everybody but beat everybody but was still really popular. But if
you want to know what MMA is all about, just
Vitor Belfort, yeah,
he gave you everything.
His entire career is everything great and awful about the sport at once. So I think he is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
See, Vitor would have been a great wrestler.
Did you hear his comment, by the way?
Well, which one?
Royalties on YouTube videos. That anybody who makes a highlight reel of his knockout should have to pay him or something like that.
Oh Lord. Vitor,
he doesn't even own the rights to his own video.
Leave him alone. Vitor Belfort's just great. He's MMA. That's all he is MMA.
Vitor Belfort is like MMA becoming a person.
He gave us like 12 years of amazing quotes.
Oh man.
And his UFC plaque has to be that feet gift from the Brazilian Big Brother.
That's actually. I can't get over that's still his wife.
What do you think he would loser?
No, but like.
Oh, I know what you mean. All right,
yeah, like it's just bizarre, like because he's such a family man.
Those are different times.
Like
different times.
Like if you go on his Instagram, it's like I think like Jordan Breen made a comment. If you go on his Instagram, it's like him and his daughter like making pizza, like handmade pizza, and him talking about like how much he loves his family. I'm like, that's not the reality TV families I know.
Well, it's a different kind. That's still your wife. You can still, I guess, do that, right?
I mean, yeah.
I was
Like,
gonna say.
I'm not
maybe-
judging. I'm just like, dude, like,
I was gonna say, he's really close to Jesus. Maybe Jesus has a foot fetish, and Vitor's okay. We're all good with that. You never know.
It's funny that you brought up the foot fetish thing though, because like the thing I posted last night during the fight was like the picture of Silva and Machida knocking him out with the same exact kick. And somebody reblogged this morning, Vitor has the worst foot fetish I've ever seen. And I think it was from a blog that didn't know about his actual foot fetish.
God.
Oh boy.
We're gonna-
Well, Vitor, we wish you the best of luck in your quote unquote
See you,
retirement. I'm gonna take your word for it.
I'm not.
see you in 6 months, my
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. But for the 6 months that you're retired, you know.
Yeah. Enjoy your time with your
Got it.
family.
No,
Indeed.
for real.
Indeed. And Machida, appreciate all of the highlight reels you've given me.
Which Vitor Belfort will not want to be paid for because you created another one and
Right.
he's in it.
Right.
Just pixelate his face.
What is he on Cops?
Do they still do
I
that?
have no idea.
Shout out to Machida, man. Awesome KO. That was something to see.
Bring on that this Let's do that.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm gonna conveniently go to the next fight because I don't want to think about how that fight could possibly
Michael
end.
Bisping was like talking retirement, but a week ago he was talking about going up to 205 to fight for the title.
Is it because Luke
Bisping
Rockhold is
not
doing it?
Yeah, because he wanted. Poor Rockhold, man.
I love Bisping, but some he worries me sometimes.
Or Luke
I don't-
Rockhold,
I
or
don't-
as he was known earlier, not DC.
Yeah, not DC.
All right, so this is where we get to the prelim section of the card, and this is where my memory is gonna change from fight to fight. But I'm gonna do my best. Cesar Ferreira, Carl Roberson. I don't remember a lot of the
First
fights.
one to get taken down. Middleweight,
Was that the whole fight? I think
Yeah.
he literally just took him down and
down
he spent the
twice.
whole fight like on the ground.
or
Yeah.
once, and a mat return if you're the anti-cool.
Yeah.
And then choked him out. Arm triangle choke. Do we care to really elaborate anymore?
I will say, like, why did they make this fight?
I was gonna ask the same question, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Not
was
make this
Roberson?
fight?
He was on the
Look.
he was on the contender series, right?
Look, if it comes down to it,
Yeah, Robertson was from the contenders.
series.
Yeah.
He looked really good, but
Maybe
this is a guy who had like 10 UFC fights. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe they thought he was ready. Like
This was
yeah.
experience as being 6-0 in MMA and 0-3 in Glory. And then they do him in there with the jiu-jitsu dude. Or the dude with like 10 more fights in the UFC than he has overall.
as I say far too often, prospect matchmaking is not let's let him learn. It's let's see what he can't do. They just wanted to see what he couldn't do, and it turns out grappling and submission defense.
So, shout out to Cesar, got him out of there real quick. Actually, these next couple fights ended really quick. Alexei Olenek, Junior Albini. I want to thank Junior Albini for not bringing his diaper with him this time.
He went off brand.
He did. I appreciate that choice. Is it me or like is Junior Albini's head just really small or is he just really big?
I was kind of thinking about like the Beetlejuice thing at the end.
We joke about him wearing a diaper, but like he has he looks like a giant baby.
Because like when I was watching this fight, like I couldn't even pay attention to what was going on. It's like his head.
I actually noticed.
It just doesn't seem proportionate.
I noticed something else. He's got like a 205er's body. Like he could probably make 205. He's really just he looks like a dude who lost a lot of weight and could probably continue to lose a lot of weight if he wanted to.
Which is
Yeah,
crazy
I can see
because
that.
he weighs 265 pounds.
No way.
Yeah, dude.
He was 266,
He-
right? But it's not like it's muscle. It's just like a lot of
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. Like, he could lose the weight.
soft tissue.
It's like baby flubber.
Yeah,
It's just literally-
baby fat.
It is. That's what it looks like. It's so bizarre.
Full plot strong against Brazilian Tommy Pickles.
But, I mean, he bloodied Alexi up, but in the end, it kind of didn't matter. The Ezekiel choke, just kind of happened, and that's gotta suck, man. Because I feel like that's one of those chokes where like you think you're doing okay, and then out of nowhere he just like your neck gets grabbed, and like maybe you're thinking like, oh, we're gonna clinch, and then he just takes you down, and then you're out
Well,
of there.
they even get like Albini's the who got the takedown. Like, Olenek literally just grabbed his head. Albini thought he was giving up the double underhooks and went for the trip, and then all of a sudden Olenek has it locked up.
That's what I'm like. It doesn't feel like a natural like. I don't know. Like I just think it's one of those chokes like you. Well, I guess with Alexi, you probably should expect it because that's kind of his thing. But it's not a natural thing to deal with. Like, how many people are you fighting that are really going hard for the Ezekiel choke? Like,
Yeah, on one hand I agree. On the other hand, if that's the guy's gimmick move,
yeah, you got
like OSP with the Von Flu,
Yeah.
I feel bad for Albini because I think he's really talented, but this is 2 fights in a row where I felt like he's given it up, so to speak.
Also, matchmaking.
I was going to mention that as well. Another example of seeing what. But you know what though? Like, counterpoint in this regard, in this fight, he was on his way to probably KOing Olenek. So
That's fair.
So it's like they didn't.
Yeah, he was touching him up. He
bloodied him up and had him. And since we're probably not going to spend too much time on this, good for Olenek. I believe his daughter was a student during the Stoneman Douglas shooting.
Yes.
There was So I'm happy for him. Olenek seems like a nice fellow. Old Plot Strong continues into the. He's pushing he's
40.
He's 40 going on 74.
I mean, he's
he's still a top 15 heavyweight. Just that heavyweight MMA just isn't real. No rules
he's
apply.
just coming into his prime.
Really, if you think
Right.
about it. I mean,
Because
Arlovski's
10
on
years
it.
ago, he was losing to Chael Sonnen.
Yeah.
Yeah, run that back, Chael.
But you wonder, why we. God, jeez. We've lost it. We've lost it already. We've lost it already. I was gonna make a point, and now I don't even remember what I'm talking. I think okay, fine. What I was trying to say was, it's no wonder it's so appetizing to take a young heavyweight and kind of fast track him, because what is there realistically? 40-something-year-old men like Arlovski and Olenek and Mark Hunt. Like, if you have a decent heavyweight prospect, it's got to be impossible to not want to just go.
Right.
Because all they're facing are legitimate grandfathers.
Like dudes who look like a strong gust of wind would knock them over.
Olenek looks like a tree. Like a tree that's ready to go. Like the old learning tree. The giving tree.
Oh man. But great Ezekiel choke. Awesome finish. Yeah, Albini, it just kinda sucks.
Can't wait to see Olenek against who's the next top heavyweight prospect we got going on right now?
Who's the guy who beat Sherman? We'll get on Lick and him.
Justin Willis.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, we'll get that. That's coming up. Well, speaking of submissions, Davy Ramos, Nick Hine. I don't remember much of this fight other than the point where Ramos was going for the Kimura, and then he used it to sweep and take his back. That whole transition was just crazy. The way he even set it.
Yeah, it was gorgeous.
Yeah, that was some next level that was when I knew it was over. Like if a guy can do that, you're out of there. Like you have no chance against somebody who can pull stuff like that off. Yeah, he just neck cranked Hines' face until it broke. Yeah, I don't remember much else of that fight other than like that neck crank or face crank just looked really painful. And Ramos looked really good.
I'm struggling. I remember the takedown setup where like Ramos faked high, got Hines to raise the high guard, and then just ducked under for a double leg and got him down. Like, dude is like an A+ athlete. Like, Davi Ramos, like he is like, if I had no like, I hate to like raise this old argument in like between wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Like, if I didn't know better, I would like say that dude's been wrestling all his life, because like that's the type of athlete you get out of wrestling, like those fast switch dudes who can just like change levels out like that, and like that's what it almost looks like to me, like a wrestler who just so happens to be like a world-class jiu-jitsu dude. Like when I think jiu-jitsu, I think guys like Damian Maia.
Slow, clunky kind of.
Well, not so, like they are where
fluid
they
in
are,
their environment.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I know what you mean.
they are ground sharks who got like stranded on land trying to strike.
He actually has, yeah. And I mean, I go back to the Grutzmacher fight where he kind of boxed him up a little bit as well. So this guy has got a lot. We may disagree on his upside, because I think you're a little bit higher than him than I am. But he was good here, and anybody who beats Nick Hine and saves us from 15 minutes is A-okay in my book. So, almost you're a good fella.
Like I don't get high. I try not to get too high on any like particular lightweight or welterweight prospect, because like in and outside the UFC, because like let's be realistic, you got to go through like a whole bunch of talent to get lightweight, which makes like the fact that Khabib's never lost like insane in my eyes. Hell, the fact that Tony Ferguson's only lost like once is insane in my eyes, in the UFC. I mean,
Because he broke his arm.
yeah, because he broke his arm. But like to go through those divisions and like come out a top 10, top 5 fighter, it's hard to get. I won't say hard to get invested, because I'm invested in a lot of guys. It's hard to get like, oh, you're the guy,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So like I'm sold on Davi Ramos as like, I'm not gonna put a ceiling on him. Like I don't know like where he ends up ultimately, but I think he has enough going for him that he could eventually be like really, really, really good. And like Nick Hine is not a dude who like Nick Hine is not a dude who's fought like the very top of the division, but like the guys he has fought, like they're some of the best from like where they come from. Like what's the homie's name?
What's the homie's name?
The dude, he's in jail now. Bang. Taehyung Bang.
Oh, Taehyung Bang. Okay, Macho Bang.
Yeah, exactly. Like he is one of the best dudes coming out of like South Korea. Who is he's legitimately skilled, and like Nick Hine beat him. You know what I mean? So
Hine is a spoiler. Yeah, Hine is a spoiler.
Hine's a spoiler. He's a tough out, and like Ramos made it look like he had no business being in there.
Yeah.
So so I don't know what Ramos' ceiling is. I don't know what they do with him next, but like I'm excited to see him fight again.
I just want to see that transition again. If you can do that to everybody, I'm a fan.
I mean, he had a real gruel. Again, I go back to the Grutzmacher fight because it was really good, and it was really grueling, and you could see a little bit more of what he's good at and what he's bad at. So you know what? But he's improving too, which is, maybe it extends that ceiling, so to speak. It keeps the window open a little higher.
And he's a muscly Brazilian. He'll be good for like another 10 years.
You know what? That's a good point.
You end up like
Brazilian lightweights and welterweights age differently than most people.
Yeah, Thibaut's still out here.
Trinaldo's pushing 58.
Frankfurt Trinaldo's 85.
Pushing mid-70s.
Masaranduba's out here, still getting wins.
Oh, Lord.
Oh my God.
All right, so
Who else?
shout out to Hamlet.
Maya's 58.
At the
Yeah.
So
Up next was Zaleski.
Oh,
Elisa
yeah, Zaleski dos Santos
who didn't get a
and
bonus.
Sean Strickland.
yeah, we forgot to
didn't?
mention this card was really good.
Yeah, like, you know.
It was.
I mean,
For all the crap, you know, I mean,
your mileage may vary on the main event. Mine was very low tolerance, but overall it was a really good show.
Right?
Yeah.
Every show was
like a lot
every show
of
was pretty good this weekend.
just it was an awesome weekend. I had a really fun. I watched fights all day once I got home from work, and it was awesome.
Like, this card only had 2 decisions on it.
Right, and Zaleski, he added to the body count of unsuspecting victims. Yeah, spinning wheel kick. I feel bad because it's another fight I just don't remember a ton of, other than like I feel like they traded for a little bit, but there wasn't a ton really going on. And then that spinning wheel kick just kind of came and it just happened, and Strickland just like he ate some ground and pound, and that ground and pound was kind of brutal because I think it was like one hand he was like posturing down, and the other hand he was just like
Yeah. And he was out for a minute, and the ref was a little bit too slow, so he just took about 2 or 3 more extra. How you doing?
That kick was beautiful. It just happened so quick. Like it was, yeah. It was just one of those moments where I'm like, I can't even really be mad that you got hit with that because I didn't even really see that coming. Like 1 minute you're just kind of there, next minute a foot. Well, I can't say it was in your face because it kind of went around, but. You know, it just happened, but it was beautiful. Got the ground and pound, got him out of there. That's crazy he didn't get a bonus because that was definitely one of the best finishes on this card. But then there were a lot of finishes on this card, so he had some stiff competition. But great finish, really great finish.
Concur.
Just like a 5-fight win streak or something like that.
Yep. Over
Crazy.
some good competition.
Yeah, like he beat Good. He beat what's his name?
Nakamura.
Nakamura.
Shinsuke.
Griffin. There we go. That's what
Max
I was
Griffin beat the shit out of Max Griffin. That was an awful. Ugh.
Yeah, and he beat Akhmedov. Like those are really solid names.
Yeah, like he's a good fighter, and I think it's like he's the slowest, most athletic 170er I think in the UFC. Because he doesn't move very fast, but then when he commits, he's like out of nowhere he hit.
Right.
So he's just fun to watch. Like I said, he might not be a title contender anytime soon, but this guy's just damn fun to watch.
I hope he gets a big fight next, or top 15, I should say. Like,
Say after.
I mean, he's on a winning streak. Not a finish streak, but he's finished like 3 of 5.
Yeah. And when you're spinning wheel kicking people, I feel like that puts you in another territory. You kind of deserve to show if you can do that against the best of the best. If you're getting everybody else out of here, so we'll see. Oh.
And he's a surprisingly good wrestler as well.
yeah,
Because he lasted with Nakamura and Dalby on the ground. Machida and Olynyk got the bonuses, by the way.
I can't argue against that. They could have thrown him like $15,000 though. They could have gave him some. But yeah, another just great finish. Apparently kicks are just a trend in this card. Everybody's getting kicked and getting sent home. Next fight, Warley Alves and Sultan Aliyev. Warley just came out like mad aggressive. Like just extra aggressive, like he just wanted to kill everybody. Poor Aliyev, man. Like that stoppage, the way his eye looked, that was scary looking. Like, ugh. that was bad. It was. I'm glad they stopped it. He didn't need to. Your eye shouldn't do that. Like it shouldn't. It shouldn't. He didn't need any more of that. See, that's one of those good moments where like, all right, we gotta get you out of here because the damage you're taking just isn't worth it. I just remember Alves just being really aggressive and closing eyeballs. That's kind of all I remember of this fight.
I watched the fight this morning because like when the fight happened yesterday, my computer freaked out on me a little bit. It lagged out really hard. But I still don't remember much of it, to be honest with you. Like, I remember all the clinch fighting.
Yeah,
I remember Alves popping him in the eye like once, and all of a sudden at the end of this like second round, what's his name's eye is just completely shut.
Sultan.
Yes, I'll leave. It sucks for Sultan. Like he just can't catch a break at this fighting crap because he got robbed fighting Doug Marshall in what was it, the middleweight Bellator tournament?
Man, I've heard.
Not a single one of us.
I haven't heard Marshall's name in forever. Is he still fighting?
Yeah. Who knows? He's dating a UFC fighter. I can't remember who.
Doug or Elliot?
Doug.
Oh. I only remember Elliot Marshall.
Doug Marshall was the dude who did the wrestling promos and had like the one punch power, but got the crap beat out by Lomanchenko and Mainhoff and then just like fucked off.
Oh, I think I kind of know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but it like Elliot, Aliyev. I think his game is just like a relic of past, man. Like he's not young. I don't think so anyway. He's 33.
I just don't understand how he got signed because he had a boring reputation elsewhere, and then it's like they still signed him, and it's like nothing's changed. He's just fighting tougher competition.
He was on like a 4-fight KO streak.
Against anybody we would know, or
does Charles Andrade ring a bell? I'm not trying to be like coy, like does he? Because I don't fucking clue who that is.
Okay, but like he was always a weird signing to me. He was signed around the same time they signed. What was the Greek guy?
Anthony Christopoulos.
I was gonna say Papanopoulos, but I have no idea where I pulled that out of.
Oh wait, no. I think you're right.
No, I think it is Christopoulos. Oh my god.
He tweeted me once because I mentioned him in the tweet.
You told this story, I think, on
and I feel bad about it to this day.
I see. Apologies. Well, maybe we'll get him on. We'll talk to him.
Well, ask him why he wasn't better at fighting.
No, I wouldn't do that. Come on now. Anyways, Warley Alves looked really good. I just wish he would clinch less. I think it's his way of like. I think he's big burst and then he kind of clinches to regroup. I wish he didn't do that. Sultan Aliyev is gonna need some Aliyev because he got popped a whole bunch.
Had terrible allergies, and they flared up to the maximum capacity.
You know, I didn't do that when you made your joke, sir.
No, but Serial Sensei did.
Oh, whoever. No, but he said he would have, but he didn't. He respects you so much.
That's not what he said. He said he didn't have a drum.
That's not accurate. We're gonna listen back and have a better interpretation. Warley Alves is getting back to being the guy who was really, really, really good and really, really, really exciting. So I'm excited. I'm willing to be optimistic here.
Yeah. Quick note: his coach is no longer. Well, his strength and conditioning coach is no longer Rogerio Camus, I think is the dude's name was, the owner of X Gym. So I don't know if either one of you knows what his former strength and conditioning coach looked like.
You tweeted a
thing. Yeah. So
he's a big dude.
He is oh crap, that's not how you do that. Yeah, he's not exactly who you want if you're a pro athlete and you want a strength and conditioning coach. like this is a dude who, if USADA sees you with him, They're probably testing you on the spot.
Yeah, that rando test ain't gonna be so rando.
Right.
Yeah. Also, don't forget Warley Alves is the only guy to beat Colby Covington. So if you're looking for somebody to support in Brazil, he's your guy.
Yeah. Colby Covington can make Alves into a star.
God.
Good.
Just
Stop
on
it.
pure spite.
Man, if he beats RDA, is this podcast gonna like stop?
I'm not talking about it.
We might have to take an intermission for about a month.
We're going to have like a 15 minutes of silence in the middle of the podcast and just talk about the
Yeah,
fight
we're not.
after
Yeah,
that.
we're not gonna mention this fight at all. Yeah,
Oh,
he
God.
gets no love, Colby. I normally don't.
But point being, now that he's moved away from Camus and he's at Team Team Nogueira. I really hope I hope Alves turns into the fighter we hope he was back when what was it like? Did he come off with tough?
Yeah,
he won the tough.
Yeah,
as a middleweight and then dropped down. And they were talking about him as like a superstar, and just never didn't click. The Barberena fight, and then Usman just ran through him.
Usman is fair.
Yeah, Barberena though was I think was a fatal flaw in his game that might not have been corrected yet.
Well,
It was the fact that his strength and conditioning coach is a 60-year-old bricked up, steroided looking motherfucker. Dude,
we can't be throwing out those accusations.
They don't have courts in Brazil.
Really?
They don't have libel courts in Brazil.
Tell me more, Colby.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, he's out here closing eyes, so he's doing something right. Whatever you're doing, it's working.
He won those last two fights. He won the third round? He went to decision, and now he won after going into a second round. So his gas tank's getting better, or he's fighting smarter, or something in there.
Something. Competition's a little easier as well. I think it's fair to point that out.
True.
But I think he's got the talent to be a top 10 guy. That's my belief.
Absolutely, and he's only 27, so he should be coming into his prime very soon.
Beat Nordine Taleb, which is not easy to do, finished him. So yeah. Colby Covington. I mean, he again subbed Colby Covington.
Broke his rib too.
Run that back, Colby.
Speaking of which,
he's busy tweeting.
Speaking of broken ribs, Jack Hermanson stopped Tyler Leites in the third round. After jumping through his guard,
right?
Literally, they're in guard. I guess Leites was trying to move to get him off. Hermanson jumps through his guard, and then just gets mount and proceeds to beat the crap out of him.
I got to give Hermanson credit. He went through a lot of adversity. Aside from breaking your rib, he got out of an anaconda choke. He just survived on the ground with Leites, and like you said. You managed to get mount. That's crazy. And I didn't think the ground and pound shots were that hard until, they stopped it and I saw the replay. And I was like, oh, he really was he was really teeing off on this guy. That's a gutsy win. That's a real gutsy win.
Yeah.
Was Leites still ranked?
I don't think so, because I think he got kicked out for the Santos laws.
He lost 13 in a row. I would hope
Wait, no, am I thinking of Santos? No, I'm thinking of Hermanson. I got it.
Hermanson, but Tyler Leites I think has lost 5 in a row.
He lost 2 in a row because he beat Sam Alvey, but before that he lost to Jocko.
Okay, so over his last
6.
Over his last 8 fights, he's 5-3. I mean 3-5.
So yeah.
Musasi, Bisping, Jotko, Tavares, and Hermanson. In between there, he beat Kamosi, Alvey, and Boach.
Really, just awesome one for Jack. Way to keep fighting through adversity. For Leites, it's got to be unfortunate because you probably thought you were doing pretty well. You had a lot going for you, and then life just kind of you know, life happens fast.
If you think MMA is something to trifle with, or it's not, if you view it again like as action figures just bonking into one another, listen to the screams of Jack Hermanson after the fight.
Yeah, he was.
When that adrenaline sort of wore off and he was having to put a shirt on.
He was going through it.
Why did they make him put a shirt on?
I don't know. I think it's just like what they do. I don't even know if because I've seen some fighters not put the shirt on, so I don't know what a professional.
I thought it was a sponsor thing. Like you just.
I'd assume something like that. What a professional.
I hope he's not injured. Well, I'm pretty sure like he might be sidelined for a while because that looked pretty painful. But and again, another fight where the guy who gets the first takedown or the last takedown wins at middleweight. Tough dad takedowns.
it is. I mean, I said like Alexei Oleinik is the most middleweight heavyweight ever.
But yeah, awesome win from Hermanson. That was a really gutsy performance. Awesome way to end it with a finish at that. All right, these next two fights I have like zero recollection of. So if y'all want to chime in, you can. Other than that, I'm just gonna read who won. Cause I don't remember them much at all.
Marcus Perez was another first guy to get the takedown fight. Got the win over Boknovic?
Yes.
Yeah. And Ramazan Mamiv is pretty good.
Oh, no, I kind of remember that fight. I feel like he beat the crap out of Mina.
He did. He lumped him up.
I felt like he could have done more, but like he was just kind of content with just... I felt like he could have gotten a finish. But either way, Ramazan Mamiv, Alberto Mina, yeah, he just kind of beat the crap out of him. That was kind of how that went. So yeah, that was... Oh, you had something?
No, I wanted to ask a comp for Anti-Cool. And you as well, I guess, as it pertains to Ramazan Mamiv. Does I have a guy in mind. I just want to make sure I get the name right. Because I don't want to confuse him with the heavyweight who has basically the same name.
Oh, Magomedov?
Yeah, does he remind you of him in terms of the fact that you always feel like he could maybe do a little more?
Yeah, like there was a point I remember, because I think I even tweeted this out. There was a point where he was landing some pretty vicious ground and pound. And I was like, you can probably get this guy out of here. Like, if you just put your foot on the tank just a little bit more. Like, I don't think he can really hang with you. But he was just, I mean, yeah, content. He was kind of content. I mean, I get it, you don't want to get caught with something crazy. And then you end up like Latest on the bad side of a situation. So, you just kind of cruise and do what you've been doing. But yeah, I think he could do a bit more.
Just because that was the knock on Rashid Magomedov was that he always did like just enough and ultimately got him basically sent out of the UFC.
Yeah.
Right.
And you don't want that to happen. And I mean, okay.
No, I'm just trying to remember like Amiv's like M1 fights, because I remember I gave like a couple of them were like some of my fights of the year. I want to say, just because of how like chaotic they were. So it's this fight was kind of a surprise because I'm basing all this off of my memory shit. So
I don't know. I had that Alvey fight planted straight in my memory, and I knew. I knew. I was just hoping. I didn't even think it was a bad fight. Like I don't think he had a bad fight. I just could see him doing more.
Oh yeah, no, like that. I definitely got the impression. Like I don't know. This was his first fight at 170, right?
Yeah, in the UFC at least. I don't know about middle. Elsewhere.
Are we not naming promotions?
I just don't remember the promotions. It's late, dude.
We're playing that game. He's had fights in quote unquote other organizations.
Oh my god! I'm just saying.
No, but like I don't remember. Like I don't remember a lot of his M1 fights. That's my point. Oh, that's what we fought. It was the Vasilevsky fights that were great. But what am I trying to? What was I saying? Oh, yeah. No, I felt he definitely could have done more to get Mina out of there. He was content to just ride his pace. He's a good fighter. I don't know what the ceiling is for him in the UFC, but like he's going to be a solid dude no matter what.
He picked a good time to be Russian in the UFC.
Yeah, that's fair.
Put it that way. And I could see him being on this main card for when they go to St. Petersburg or wherever they're going for the fight night.
Is it Moscow or is it St. Petersburg?
I have no clue, dude. No idea.
To be fair, Dano probably doesn't either.
No, he's just like somewhere in Russia.
He's like, I want to go to Russia. So somebody pick a place and we're going to Russia. You goof.
That was way too... Yeah, I was about to say, where was the... Get Bjork, he knows something about fucking Russia. What's he doing these days?
Probably unionizing.
Yeah, right.
It's like, I understood that the MMAAFA, whatever, needed somebody who knew MMA and wasn't a fighter, like knew the business side.
Let's bring in
Let's bring the guy everybody hated.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
He was trying his best. He's trying his best. Bjorn, like, he would be a guy if I was going to Russia, he would be one of those guys I would definitely call.
Maybe he's on payroll.
Double secret payroll?
Well, that was one of the theories, like when he went away, like that the UFC was paying him to do stuff for them.
There have been so many Bjorn Rebney rumors, like Jason Floyd and Sam Kaplan, they had to debunk that, like, remember when Bellator got sued by that one dude who was working, like, who they said he was pressuring them, like they were pressuring him into some sort of agreement or whatever, and the rumor was that Bjorn Rebney was funding it. I can't remember the name of the dude. Let me see if I can type it in.
Was he the dude, like, did they fake drug test results and stuff?
Something along those lines, right? Like they eventually settled and he wound up coming back, but it was
Why would you want to come back to that situation?
I don't know. You like MMA? Do you like sports?
You like MMA?
You like being pressured into faking drug tests?
Yeah, dude, this is a weird ass sport, man. That's probably not even I don't even know if that's accurate, but Zach Light.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, the rumor that they had to debunk was like that Bjorn was the financial backer, like the Hogan Gawker lawsuit thing where Hogan had a third party.
I wish a billionaire would finance my frivolous lawsuit.
What frivolous lawsuit do you have going?
He'll find somebody to sue.
I mean, I'll find somebody. This is America.
I see. Understood.
I can sue somebody for something.
Sue somebody for something.
And if you have enough money, you can win any case. That's what I've learned.
That's true. That's very true.
Stokes missed quite the show, didn't he?
Yeah.
Poor dude.
Hope the strawberries were worth it.
Can we stop?
They were. I benefit directly from them.
I see. Somebody's gonna get some tainted strawberries and fail a USADA test in a minute. They keep fucking around with this guy.
It is really funny that you said that because his name is Canelo.
Whose name?
Canelo.
Oh.
Oh boy.
I just got it. You slide dog, cheeky man.
Oh man.
I was gonna make a comment, but I'll make it off air.
Oh yeah, we had a lot of. One of these days, because I need to delete the stuff on my computer because it's taking up too much space, but I'm lazy and I don't. I need to just make like a best of off-air conversations and go through.
Just air the 30 minutes prior to starting this one.
One of these days, I'm gonna have to do like a bonus episode. I'm just gonna chop up.
You can't just say that without context now.
I mean,
oh god.
I think either way works.
That it's a good point. It's a mystery. You got to pay $4.99 to get the bonus stuff, guys.
Yeah.
But you also get the CFL if you do so.
Dojotalkpodcast streaming service coming soon.
Oh wow! What billion? How much is the zone going to pay us?
We're still working out that number. I'm trying to get it past 2 digits. They're not budging, but
Would the zone pay us first, or the PFL pay the guy who wins the $1 million tournament first?
Oh wow.
Mm.
If it's Jared Rosell who wins the $1 million heavyweight tournament, would anybody be mad if they just didn't pay him? like halfway through the third round of the final match in the tournament, like Ray Sefler just gets up from the front seat and walks out the door.
The weird thing is that if it's a Jared Rosell 5-round fight, there'll be nobody left in the building by the time the 5th round is over. So it's like, if he left, would anybody even be a witness to him leaving?
Oh man. That's messed up.
We didn't even cover this HBO boxing card, by the way, which is amazing.
I didn't even see it.
Oh man, somebody
You
told me
didn't?
to watch that, and yeah, I didn't watch it either.
Watch Jamie Manguia and Saddam Ali. It's a something.
Oh, that's who was fighting. God, because
I
I,
mean,
went to go look up the card and it was somebody else's name I saw.
To our
Well,
credit,
because
they
it
were
was Ali and supposed to be Liam Smith, I think, right?
I'll say to our credit, there were like 80,000 fights on yesterday.
Yep.
And I had like 3 screens up at the same time. It was a lot. There was a lot going on. It was a lot to keep up with.
There you go.
But we covered everything we wanted to in 3 hours and 20 plus minutes. Sounds about right.
Yeah, are you okay? Cause,
What's
like,
up?
I thought you had to go to work.
I did, but I didn't want to say that on air.
You could have said something.
No, I told him I was gonna be late.
I was gonna say we would have let you go. If you get fired, I'm gonna feel really bad.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're not even gonna feel bad. Stop lying. That's the second lie you told.
Because
tonight.
listen, I can't because I don't have the Dyson money yet, so I can't pay you.
Oh my god. No, I told him I was gonna be late.
All
I'll
right.
just walk in, throw a dolly, leave.
There you go.
I won't get in any trouble.
You might get a raise.
Right.
I might. You're right. I might get a raise.
All right. So we can't have Joey getting fired over here.
Oh no! Don't cut it off on my behalf. If you're gonna be late, you gotta be all the way late.
That is true. Because
They gotta just be, as Jim Cornette would say, you gotta be so late they're just happy to see you.
That is great. Oh, I got to use that at my job, and hopefully.
Do we still have
they'll-
questions to answer? By the way, like I believe we still have some fan questions, don't we?
Do we?
I had. I mean, is Stokes the J.R. Smith of the Dojo Talk podcast?
That's a good point.
Mm,
It's a good question.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, the
That-
only way he is if when he is. Well, I don't want to put his work out there. So
You already did.
did we?
if people can connect dots, they might have figured it out.
Unless Stokes is out there just picking strawberries shirtless, then the answer is no. He's not the J.R. Smith of the Dojo Talk podcast.
J.R.
Somebody
Smith
called
showed
me
up.
the J.R. Smith of anything, I would fight them.
Oh my goodness. Stokes
So-
is not the J.R. Smith. He's
Oh man, they play today. They're playing right now, actually, aren't
oh crap! You're right.
they?
Christ.
All right, yeah, we might have to wrap this up, man.
We didn't even answer the question.
Stokes, you can be the Klay Thompson.
Yeah, Stokes, I'm not gonna disrespect you like that and call you the J.R. Smith of anything.
Stokes, you can be whatever you want to be.
I'll give you Clay. We can do Clay. I can live with that.
You be whoever you want to be, Stokes.
Just don't be J.R. Just don't aspire to be that. You can do better. We all can do better.
We all can. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, Boston's up 40-21 right now.
Stokes, you be whatever you want to
So
be.
definitely don't be J.R. Smith because clearly it's not working.
I mean,
Stokes, you be whatever.
But yeah. So overall,
I don't know.
man,
Who's the guy who hates California or likes certain parts of California but hates people from California?
I don't know.
I don't know. We got to think of a better comp for him. I don't know. Stokes is the.
Stokes is the closer.
I guess that could work. He's the. Yeah, he's the Sting. He hangs out at the rafters and just like points the bat. So
Exactly.
he's always
There you go.
around but never around.
I can live with that.
He's like the Fucking hell, might as well. He's like
Compared
the
to-
dad who lives a block away but doesn't come and see you, except for your birthday.
Who's me now?
I'm about to say, except for your birthday, and he always smells like cigarettes, and he just wants to just takes a picture with you just so he can have it on his Facebook.
That did not go the way I thought it was gonna go.
I was defending him. I don't want to hear a single thing. I was defending him.
Oh,
so
man.
He's better than J.R. Smith. He's
definitely better than J.R. Smith. You're way better than J.R.
He's the
Smith.
star. I'm the J.R. Smith. You only bring me on when you want to fuck something up.
Oh man, Stokes is awesome though. We appreciate you.
Love him immensely.
Yeah, he's the reason we have a California fan base.
Okay,
And,
so who's responsible for Calcutta?
They never emailed us. Whoever is out there in India and the people we had in Egypt, but who got mad at us, because they haven't came back.
That's the guy. I think they're the Super Fight League fans.
Yeah, so
We love the SFL. We just wish the SFL loved its fighters as much as we love the SFL.
Yeah.
Oh man, but awesome weekend of fights. But always still got to give pardon shots and shout outs. I don't have anybody to be angry at, so I have no shots. But
Wait, part of shots is if you're mad at somebody?
yeah, you throw a shot.
I thought that was the put over portion of the program.
Is it shout out or you call them out?
Oh yeah, or you call them out.
All right, well,
So I don't have any shots to throw at anybody. Nobody got me too angry this weekend, or nothing that I can remember. But I have some shout outs real quick because I watched just a lot of fights this weekend. So quick shout outs to Glory 53. Sidacha versus Tajani Bestowed was a pretty good fight. Tajani put the valiant effort in like the first round, and then Sidacha gonna Sidacha. So you know how that goes. So he retained his belt. Jafar Wilness and Jamal bin Sadiq was a awesome heavyweight fight, and Jafar ended up almost finished Sadiq, but he won that fight. It was a really, really good back and forth heavyweight fight.
I missed a hell of a glory show. We had
Yeah,
Jafar
it was
and
a-
Scotty Too Hottie fighting at the fighting at the same time.
Shout outs to Cedric Doumbé, who got a KO, and Anissa Mexen defended her bantamweight belt against Amel Debbie, if I'm saying that correct. And overall, shout outs to One Championship. I downloaded the app, and I was watching the card while I was at work, and it was pretty fun. Like, I don't remember a lot of the people who were fighting because I was watching it and trying to work, so I didn't get fired.
Unlike
like
some of us.
but like all of the fights I saw were really good. Like, it seemed like a pretty entertaining card, and the app was pretty good. Like, everything ran smoothly. The app didn't crash on me or anything. Surprisingly, it didn't drain my battery as much as I assumed it would. So One Championship app is pretty cool. They don't have the full catalog of fights on there. There's still stuff on there you can watch, but like I think that was the first live event you could watch and stream as it was happening. So that was pretty cool. But like, just shout outs to all the fights that happened from like Friday through this weekend. Like, every card I watched, from kickboxing to boxing to MMA, like everything delivered. So, you know, shout outs to everybody in the fight world, and shout outs to the Tumblr people who sent in questions. You know, you guys keep sending those in. You can send them to the email dojotalkpodcast@yahoo.com, and you know, we'll answer them throughout the show. Make things fun, make things interesting, and that's all I got.
Shout outs to Nobita, who was the rare exception to the don't take an immediate rematch rule. Lost his title like 6 months ago to Alex Silva in a one-sided decision. Came back, won the belt back on Saturday. The One Championship strawweight title, I believe. You know, out here still doing it, 34 years old, 115 pounds. Kind of remarkable, because you know, at that point you kind of just break down and fall apart. So, you know, shouts to him. And shouts to Danielle Rendu. Crap. So it'd be like Rendo. The Vice writer who wrote about why Pennington versus Nunes was an important fight to her, only for the MMA community to kind of throw their arms up in the air and be like, why? But more positivity. And y'all gone. Yep, you're back. Huh?
What? I've been here.
Oh.
You're just trying to kick me off.
No. So once every time we try to do this, Mike's internet goes.
I see.
And it makes that sound like like when everything just goes dead silent. So I just figured that's what happened.
I was listening to you.
My internet actually held up for once. So
Shh, we're not done yet.
no, I'm not shouting out Comcast. You guys still suck.
Jesus.
Hey. Here you go, Joey.
Oh, okay. I guess parting shots to you guys for potentially getting me fired. We start there. We can start there. Both parting shots and shout outs to Combat Sports for having a very crowded weekend, but for overcrowding it so that it was hard to keep up with everything. Shout out to Amanda Nunes and Rocky Pennington for making history. Good on them. Shout out to Vitor Belfort for his 4-month retirement. I'm gonna miss you till November or December. And that's about it. It was a good weekend in combat sports, and happy Mother's Day to all those mothers who out there listening. You probably could have had another child in between the time this started and ended. So, congratulations. And that's it. I guess not much else to say.
When's the next card, real quick?
Next week from Chile.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a request. If Enrique Barzola loses, I want to be on. But if he wins, then just pretend I'm not here.
If he loses, you could take my spot because I'll be way too sad with grief.
I see. You have two guys going.
Bundene.
Oh, man.
There you go.
Well, we'll see. I'll be keeping a close eye on those fights. I'll give you a pulse check in between rounds. Make sure you're still with us.
That Bondinai Benitez one is going to be tough because Mowgli's one of my favorite fighters, and Bondinai is obviously Peruvian, so there's going to be some heat.
So now you have to be on this podcast because y'all are going to have beef regardless.
I think we already do.
Well, this is going to intensify it.
I see. This is when we start throwing dollies and chairs.
We're going for the ratings grab, so.
Look, we got to get that live sports content $1 billion deal, man.
Yeah, we got to start somewhere. So.
Yeah.
This is the beginnings of that. I got to get Dazen to up that money.
What would be the podcast equivalent of me hopping the cage and punching the referee?
Talking over me, like the way I talk over you, I guess. Would be Oh man, someone's car alarm is going off.
Uh-oh.
This is the perfect end.
Too much heat.
I'm just happy my fire alarm's fixed. It hasn't beeped in like an hour.
Man.
This has been a wild podcast. Shout out to the listeners who listened for 3 and how long are we going? About 3.5 hours, a little over.
Fellas,
3 hours and 38 minutes. So,
fellas, I swear to God, we start every single one of these when I'm here with. Let's try to keep it a little short. This one, the term was deliberately used. We're gonna race through this one.
The very first thing I said when you got on the call was, I'm gonna try and stay on topic.
Yeah. We're just gonna race on through.
And then
these days.
And then we had a 30-minute conversation.
One of these days we're gonna do it. One of these days we're gonna get a podcast that's barely over 2 hours.
We're gonna do the sport we were discussing, the 30-minute conversation about. Was that what you were implying? Because I don't know.
We're gonna figure this out one day, but we try our hardest. That's we know. We give A for effort.
We did this on Mother's Day too. We neglected the mothers we know to be your mothers and give you guidance and spiritual learning.
All right. So hopefully you took something away from this.
Yeah, shouts to all the moms.
Perfect way to end it.
All right. So, happy Mother's Day.
Shout out to all
Call-
the mothers and our absentee dad Stokes, who's not here for us.
He's here when it
he's-
counts, damn it.
And with that being said, this has been another episode of the Dojo Talk Podcast. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you guys later.